Ladies and gentlemen, hello, hello, hello. I hope you are having a one. See, I caught it just in time. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Give me 1 second. I swear I am in a kitchen. I am in a kitchen tonight. We have a full docket ahead of us tonight, folks. We have count 'em, three TPOs. They are live, like not live, sorry. Yes, I have a personal court happening in my kitchen live where I will be deciding on TPOs. No, they are from today, so they're fresh. You likely haven't seen these before, but I would love to share them with you tonight. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the first one. Actually, you've all started with the first one, hopefully, if you're coming from Time Served. He had the first one tonight, and that would be the brothers. So we are moving on to the next case that Judge Dude had this evening or that today. And let's just say he had a bad day. Okay, he had a bad day. I didn't. I had a beautiful day. I love hanging out with all you beautiful people. I see you in the chat. Please drop what you're having or had for dinner. And if you had something crappy, put what you wish you had. Go with that. Nana's watching something in the living room. I don't know what. Let's try not to get copywritten by that. And let's get on with the show. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna dip out for the first bit off the screen just so that we can get it settled. And then I will dip myself back in. Frozen pizza, that sounds good. Salmon with fish cake. Okay, yes, I think it's meant to be salmon. Maybe it's Simon. I don't know what that is. Rachel's mentioning mussels, but I don't think that's what she means. Blueberry mini wheats, loved it. Love that, Lawrence. Frozen chicken tenders, that's totally fine, Ginger. Laura, I love the beef and broccoli stir fry. That sounds delish. I can be here for this part. No, Simon like ramen. Salmon like ramen. So I had it right the first time. Beeg tips and mac and cheese. I'm going to assume you meant beef, Rachel, but great. Public soup and garlic bread, Courtney. Yogurt, you may call me XLF. I don't know what to call you. Mussels and mussels. All types of mussels are wonderful, Monica. I ate ramen last night on the show, realizing afterwards I was like, that was probably gross. I apologize for anybody that didn't want to see that. Yumbo, baked potatoes with turkey gravy. Valerie, that sounds delicious. Monica's having yogurt and banana. Hello from Mission, BC. Well, hello. I'm also in British Columbia. I live on the West Coast as well. And so that's why we do things late here. It's a bit bright out. Let's see, what else do we have? Let me pull up the other chat page where I have the right live chat. And that's something for you folks. Just keep in mind, there's 2 chat options if you're in the chat. Also, we're real nice. We talk a lot of crap, but we're pretty nice people. So anyways, without further ado, why, thank you, Monica. Without further ado, I would absolutely love to watch these together. As you can see, oh, hold on, you can't because I clicked the wrong button. Judge Edgerton's got his glasses on, which means, and I don't wear glasses, so I don't know, but in my opinion, what that means is he has a headache. Can somebody tell me that? I think that's what it means anyways. So let's get going. I'm making some macaroni today, for my daughter, and then I'll decide what I want. All of your guys' dinner suggestions are ranking in my brain right now so that I can see what it is. We could make a bingo card for TPOs as well. Why don't we spend tonight writing down the types of squares we think TPO TPO should have. No, not homemade. Well, I guess homemade technically because I'm in my home and I'm making it, but it's from a box. So, any is my grandma watching fucking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory right now? Excuse my language. We're not supposed to swear. She is 100% watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What the heck?
Okay, yeah, sure.
To you both, we're going to begin here shortly. This is a protective order 12-month hearing, and the way that this works is that it's the petitioner's case and burden of proof. They will have to show that more likely than not, recent acts of family violence exist or have been committed, and that they need essentially emergency protection in the form of a protective order such as this. After the petitioner presents each witness, the respondent will have an opportunity to suggest questions, and the court will ask them if they believe they are helpful and appropriate. After the petitioner is rested, the respondent has the opportunity to present evidence or not. What we have before the court today is essentially a single filing. And so that will be the question before the court. Have acts of family violence been committed that would justify the issuance of a protective order, and might this order help prevent those acts from reoccurring in the future? So, Ms. McIver, we're going to start with you, and I'm going to ask if you would please unmute, turn your camera on, and raise your right hand for me. Do you swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right. You filed this petition on or about March 22nd. The respondent, Mr. Blackshear, you believe to be a resident of DeKalb County. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you two have recently gone through a divorce. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you also have a child together. Their information is not listed in the petition, but you do have one or more children together, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, on your petition, you indicated that you two are currently living in the same household?
We was currently living in the same household all the way up until February the 17th of this year, when the domestic violence situation occurred. And he was arrested that day.
Okay. And what was he charged with?
He was charged with battery, family domestic battery. And I think they wrote him a citation for being that it was minors under the home. They wrote him a citation, I want to say, for that.
Okay. Yeah, they call that third-degree cruelty to children if there's a minor that sees or hears the commission of a battery.
Right.
So, and so when he went to jail, he was arrested, charged, given a bond, and then he bonded out, obviously, because he's not in custody right now, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And so, what was the status of the divorce when this incident took place in February?
When this incident took place in February, we were already divorced. We was just divorced, living under the same household.
Okay. And so since the arrest, he has gone elsewhere, and have you continued to reside at that location?
Yes, sir. I have continued, me and our daughter have continued to reside at that location. Been there ever since. I'm not sure where he is at this point. He does have a stay away order. He did try to contact me through email with the stay away order.
Now, what did the divorce decree say in regards to the possession or disposition of the house?
So the possession of the house, Mr. Blackshear was supposed to be awarded the house September the 15th, 2022, which was of last year. So upon Mr. Blackshear moving back into the home, me and Ariana were still there. So at this point, Mr. Blackshear knew that I didn't have anywhere to go. So the agreement was between him and I, like, hey, until you secure you and Ariana, a place to stay. You guys stay here, so nothing has to change with her. We agreed that I would stay there, find employment. He would continue to pay alimony, child support, etc., until I found a stable place to live. It wasn't really a time frame on it, but we kind of said anywhere from 6 months to a year. That would be enough, so alimony would pay for rent because everything has gone up. So he understood that. So we stayed there up until, he got arrested. I did get was looking for an apartment at that time. So when this incident actually occurred, it was because I was asking for alimony. At that point, I was ready to leave. I had kind of already found me a place behind his back because every time I tried to do something, he sabotages it. He'll financially abuse me. He'll try to control me. He'll say he does something and then he doesn't do anything. So I just got tired of the back and forth. So I did find employment while staying with him. So he watched our daughter every day while I worked full time. I was just my job.
Going back to the incident in February, what did he do to cause you injuries, and what were those injuries?
Those injuries were a busted lip. I had minor scratches to my collarbone and some defensive wounds on my right side because I was holding my daughter on my left side. I was just coming home from work. And so once I came home from work, he asked me about my day. I said, my day's going good, XYZ. I said, hey, alimony's coming up. I said, I do have me a place in mind. And then it went from there. So he's pretty much trying to get out of paying alimony. And I felt like none of this would be happening if he wouldn't have never got arrested. Since then, Mr. Blackshear has filed several charges on me. He's just tried to have me evicted. That judge, that wasn't successful. He's tried to have a TPO taken out on me. I think that was denied, or he didn't show up. I don't think he showed up for court that day. Everything that he's trying to do is like he's created his own monster. He started a problem, but now he run to the court, file all this paperwork. I can't even raise my daughter. I'm in court more than I'm raising my daughter. I'm constantly preparing for court. Since the stay away order and the TPO order, Mr. Blackshear has came by the house several times. Neighbors have caught him on camera. The police can't get in touch with him to hold him and detain him long enough to serve him the last TPO.
So have you seen him at any point in your vicinity?
Yes, the neighbors caught him on camera. So immediately when we caught him on camera, and I'm going to get that videotape for the stay away order because we don't have a court date for that yet. But he was getting his Corvette, and I immediately called 911. And I called the officer that had just left. He was like, well, I tried to call him to detain him, but he's not answering the phone.
So you're saying he came, he took his car, and he left?
Yeah, he took his car and he's left because that was just his second time. The first time he came, my mom was there.
Okay, but let's talk. This is hard to do if it's multiple things at a time. So that second time, you have no reason to think that he was looking for you or there for anything other than the car.
I felt like he was. I am in fear of Mr. Blackshear.
That's not the question I asked. Let's focus on what's in front of us. So did he try to knock on the door?
No, he didn't try to knock on the door. He was in.
Did he try to look in the windows?
He was looking through the windows, but he didn't try to knock on the door.
Okay.
But he was looking through windows, and he has a video camera. So
where were you when all this was happening?
Well, the first time it happened, I was in the house. Last, my mom was there the last time. And she's here. So I was out running errands the last time. But the first time, because the police came to our resident multiple times. So sometimes he'll come with an escort. Sometimes Mr. Blackshear just does what he wants to do. He's been held in contempt, and I don't know what else to do with his behavior at this point, because he's coming by the house, he's parking his car elsewhere.
All right, this is argumentative, so we're going to get back to the facts and me figuring out the things I need to figure out. So
okay,
as far as the account you've given of the second event, you're basing that off of what you saw on the video and what you were told by your mother?
Yes, and the police that was there, the officer that was there, because eventually an officer was called.
Well, they wouldn't have been there until after he was gone, from what you're telling me. So they
Right.
they didn't have any direct. Okay. All right. So I am most focused for the purposes of this discussion on what happened in February. I'll just tell both of y'all that because the other things that you're describing are concerning. Now, okay. So let me see what other questions I have based on that. Now,
I'm sorry, Judge, if
Can
you
you-
hear anything, it's just my daughter. I do have my daughter right.
no worries. So when would you estimate the Corvette thing was?
The Corvette that just happened. Today is Tuesday. The Corvette situation happened, I want to say Monday or Tuesday. No. Last week. Because he was trying to retrieve his Mustang.
About a week ago is what we're going to say.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna
just to
say-
give me a general idea of the timetable, early to
Yeah.
mid-April, about a week ago.
So it's been recent stuff since this TPO. They just hadn't been able to detain him long enough to serve him. And I think he's gotten wind of that he has a TPO that a judge ordered out on him.
Well, I mean, it certainly seems so because he made it here today. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. In the first incident that you referenced where you were in the house, approximately when was that?
That was shortly after, that was a couple of weeks after the incident on February the 17th. So that was
Sometime
sometime,
in March.
so towards the end of February.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one incident in late February, one in early to mid-April that you allege were violations, and then visible injuries from the incident that took place in February that resulted in his arrest.
Correct.
Got it. All right. Mr. Blackshear, there's kind of an order we have to follow with these things, and as much as people often want to make statements, the first part of the process is asking questions, or understanding you'll get to make statements later that probably don't match up with what she said, because that's why you have the hearing, is because the sides don't agree about the facts. Do you have questions that you think I should be asking this witness?
Well, the first question is, she claims that she was holding the baby at the time, but she just said that she wasn't even at the house. And now she claims that I did all this stuff to her, but you should probably ask her.
I'm sorry, you've already confused me a bit. This is a me issue. Are you saying that? Are you saying the baby was not at the house? Or are you saying that Mr. Kiver was?
What I'm saying is she's having an elaborate story that doesn't make sense, because what I
Help
did.
me understand the question you're trying to ask.
Here's the question. You're saying where all these incidents takes place at. So the question should be is this right here. Okay, you asked me about like because it's a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to break it down as much as I can. So you talked about the TPO. First of all, I've never come to the house without a police escort. I've never been given a police escort, because what she do every time I come to the house with the police, she refused to let the police in. But what I did was
these are statements. I need you to.
Okay.
We'll have a time for that. You will have your chance to say what you want to say in that regard. Before we go further, you got somebody sitting there with you. Are you intending for them to testify?
Yes, they told me that I actually submitted some evidence, and I guess they didn't say it, but I wrote it down for my daughter to be a witness, because my daughter was at the house for pretty much anything that went on. My daughter's here.
But she didn't see anything.
No,
The police
hey, no,
already
ma'am. Hang on.
Okay.
Please, no interruptions or outbursts. All right. How old is your daughter?
15.
15?
Yes.
And where is she?
She's sitting right beside me.
Okay, that's who that is.
Yeah,
So
this is not a child. This is not a child with me and her. This is a different child.
She needs to be somewhere else. She can be sitting with you to give her statement,
Okay.
but what's going to happen now
Okay.
is if there's another room she can go in.
Yes.
So what we don't want to happen is for her to just sit there, hear everything you say, and then just say the same thing again.
Right.
We want to hear every witness's story in their own words.
Yes.
So So it's fine to have her testify, and when she does, she can slide in next to you there on the couch if that's what's easiest, and that's totally
right.
fine. But just during the other testimony of the parties, we'll put them somewhere else. So, all right.
Oh,
so
I do got a question now. Now I got it. I'm focused.
Okay. What is that question?
Here's my first thought that you should have asked her. She had that court ordered a court ordered document saying she's supposed to left the house. The only reason you should ask her, why did she leave with the court order? And where is the paperwork that she claiming that me and her made such a deal? If I'm going to pay you, I'm not going to divorce you, pay you to stay at the house and then deter you from leaving. That's financially, that's ruining for me. It wouldn't be no purpose of
so
me.
that's a lot of questions at once. Let me see how I can break these down. So, Miss McIver, was there ever any written agreement regarding you staying in the home?
No, Your Honor, just verbal, but I do have some text messages in my phone, though, dating back to February, October, November.
Okay. And I'm sorry to interrupt, do you have any knowledge of him filing an eviction against you or anything of that nature?
Oh, yes, I'm very well with him filing an eviction. Your
Is
Honor,
that still pending in the court system, or has that been resolved?
It is.
That's still.
We have another court date.
Sir, I'm asking her. This is the questions for her to answer. So, ma'am, what is your belief there?
Yes, Your Honor. We had court on April the 11th, just last week, on Tuesday, and it's pending. And he has to prove his case that I actually owe him $1,000 a month, because she said, it looks like you're saying that he owes you $1,000 in alimony, but he's saying that you owe him $1,000 in rent. Y'all are divorced. She said, I don't fix relationships. Y'all got to go back and file a petition. So it's pending until we get a trial date, because it's all confusing, because he makes it confusing for everybody. And it's
how would you describe what that judge looked like?
She was African American, short hair, blonde, highlight streaks.
Okay. So, and that was literally a week ago today.
That was literally a week ago today. We had court for the eviction.
Okay. So I see that case number in the system. I'm not going to go through the filings and paperwork on that, because that's not exactly a part of this. So,
since then, Your Honor, if I can speak, since then, Your Honor, me and my daughter have been in the home. Mr. Blackshear has had the lights disconnected from the home. He has turned off the Wi-Fi, so I'm not able to, so I can miss my court dates. I had to go to the neighbor's house to get her passcode to use her Wi-Fi. He has financially abused me to the point that I had to resign from my job. Like I'm not even working at this point. The only income I have is Ariana's child support, and it's not fair that I live off her child support, because that's her money. I can't even work because I have to find a babysitter. So I'm in the process of actually getting my place and doing these things. But he knows that me and him had an agreement for me to be staying there. He's just trying to get out of paying the alimony. No. So I tried to resolve things, Your Honor, during the eviction court date, and try to say, hey, if you don't have all of the alimony, at least you can start making some payments that you are making in the rears. He don't even want to do that. So he
Well, that is not an issue that's going to be fixed here today. That's a part of a different court proceeding, because y'all have a divorce case, an eviction, and a protective order. And it's something in the water, because this is apparently how things are happening today. So, all right, what I'm going to do at this point is turn to Mr. Blackshear. You have a choice to testify or remain silent. If you testify, understand the things you say in this court can be used against you in other court proceedings, and that means including but not limited to your criminal charges. Most people in your position choose, well, I won't say most, many people in your position, I can't even put a number on it, will choose to remain silent for that reason. And many people will choose to testify. I don't know which is more common. I don't know if it's even close to being the same number in one pot versus the other. But I always give that advisement of Fifth Amendment rights, because I think it's especially important when we know there are already criminal charges out there. With all that said, It's your choice as to whether you testify or not. Do you wish to testify or do you wish to not testify?
Oh, I wish to testify. I cannot sit up here and allow her to lie.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear the statements you make will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, thank you very much. In the interest of directing this, I'll tell you what I'm most interested in are the allegations that, one, the incident that resulted in your arrest in February, and then 2 and 3, the allegation that you have been at the property without a law enforcement escort in either late February or about a week ago, according to the testimony that she's given. Those are the things that I am most interested in discussing, and you can handle those in whatever order you wish. So where would you like to begin?
We can start at what I actually was arrested for, because I don't know the information she got, but that is not what it was. What I was arrested for was it says simple battery domestic violence is what was on it. It was nothing about a child or anything on it. I have the paperwork, and I didn't submit that, but I submitted some documents for you to take a look at about the incident that actually happened. And what else that I could do also, or I should have done, was I have every 911 call, and they said they logged it in for me, showing I've never come to the residence without a police escort. The problem was, whenever she was at the house, she would not open the door for me to, what the court says, to obtain some stuff for me and my daughter. She knows that all my daughter's clothes, her school stuff is at the house. She would not give us the right. Now, she made a comment about the Corvette. This is what MacGyver left off. The Corvette was parked in the garage behind the Mustang. What she did was call a wrecker, remove my Mustang, took my car without my permission, and drove it around. When I came to the house with the police officer that time, because my daughter was there, I got my daughter, and then I'm like, hey, why is my Corvette? It's not at the house. It's across the street. I said, why is my Corvette across the street? My daughter tells me, oh, she gets a record and moved your car and took your car. See, she leaves out a lot of stuff. Now you say that was the rest stuff. Now getting back to what happened, I submitted the statements that she said, and I submitted the ones that I said, which was basically the police report that showed that what it says is everything she said was inconsistent, especially when it comes to the child. It tells you directly that she couldn't have been holding the child according to what the police said. She failed to tell you or to mention that when she was down, she came in the house. She the one that had a bad day. I fixed her something to eat. She goes off on me. What did I do? I left out of the living room. I went upstairs to get away from her. And when I get upstairs, here she comes. I have the baby. So she hits me in the back, snatches the baby, pushes me, pops my necklace. She pops the part of where you fastened on at. And that's how her hand got cut. So what did she do with that? She put some blood in her mouth, takes the blood, puts it all around the house, wiping it on the walls, and blames me for whatever. Nobody put their hands on her. Nobody touched her. If you go back, if it's possible, and look at any old TPO, there's never been any physical contact, only arguing. No, what she's trying to do, I'm a disabled veteran. She's trying to she had a whole year sitting in the house. She could have had a job. She don't choose to work. She's just somebody's trying to take advantage of a disabled veteran. Now, there was no deal. If I'm trying to get you out of my house, why am I going to make a deal for you to stay in the house and I pay you? No, what it was is this. She's the one that's been ducked in the sheriff's department because they're supposed to came on September 15th to remove her from the house. So when I go up there and I ask them what is going on, they said, well, just like the same thing with this TPO here. They can't serve you. They can't find you. They can't serve you. How did I know about this TPO? Because it's public record. You don't have to, you can go online and look at this stuff. I live at the courthouse. So right now, she has a contempt from staying in the house, a contempt from damaging the house, a contempt for damaging vehicles and all that stuff. She keeps talking about this money. I also have court documents.
We're not doing the money discussion.
You're right. Okay. So, well, getting back to
let me ask this: what was the custody arrangement in the divorce decree? As far as, I guess it's tricky because you're living in the same house, but was there anything that was dictated as far as the split?
What she failed to do, every weekend I'm supposed to get my daughter. She never brought him. That's another contempt. You never followed directions. I don't have my daughter. She is what else did they got in there? She was supposed to be gone.
So you're supposed to get weekends is the answer to the question I asked.
And I have not gotten that.
I'm just here for supposed tos.
Yeah.
So, all right. And then she made statements that there have been issues with the utilities, bills, lights, etc.
Okay.
What's going on there?
I can actually, y'all have a share on here. So she has put me in financial ruin. If the
answer to the question is you say you can't afford to pay the bills, then let's just say that. But we don't need the elaborate.
I'm just saying I have proof because I got it on my computer. If we need to share of what she's done since she's been in the house,
is the answer to the question I asked that you can't afford to pay the bills?
I cannot pay them, sir.
Okay, then please just say that. We've been in court for 6 hours, and y'all are not even close to the last people I'm going to deal with today.
Right.
So I got some people that are ordering in for dinner if we can't get answers to the questions we got to ask. So, all right. And so you were eventually able to get your vehicle back from the property in April. Is that right?
What I did is this right here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that with or without a police escort?
It's always been with a police escort because what she tries to do is she takes her car and she blocked it in with her car. Now, what she also left out was, because it's easy to figure this out with the same, because we seem to have the same officers that come through. So she's standing up there arguing with the officer about moving her vehicle, and she wouldn't move her vehicle. See, it's easy to go get these paperwork from these police officers because I asked them all to write it down and take notes in case I have to come back to court just to prove that Miss McGovern is a liar, a habitual liar, and is trying to get over and lie on all these issues. I had to get the vehicles because she's damaged vehicles in the past. She's already stolen a weapon from me. I have another utility vehicle, two utility vehicles in the garage where she's taking the keys of. So she's got a vehicle, she got a motorcycle, a slingshot, and she has a weapon of mine that she stole.
And so I have to get what I can get. For the purposes of the court record, when you say a slingshot, what do you mean?
That is, we'll just call it a recreational vehicle.
Okay, like an ATV type thing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir. I had a 4-wheeler, but her son stole it and destroyed it, along with the house.
All right. I think that's all the questions I have about these incidents. Ms. McIver, do you have questions that you think the court should ask him about those incidents?
Yes, I would like for you guys to ask him about the incident to where is when he went to go pick up his Corvette. This was, my mom is sitting right here and the neighbors have it on camera. He had somebody drive him. He drove the Jeep. This was just the other day. I called Officer Brown and I have Officer Brown's number. Officer Brown called Mr. Blackshear. Mr. Blackshear came, had somebody to come pick him up to get his Corvette, and it was parked at the neighbor's house. So the HOA lady gave me the neighbor from New York, his number, and you will see Mr. Blackshear getting out of the Jeep Wrangler with the young lady. She gets out of the passenger side, gets into the driver's side. He gets out, he gets into his Corvette, and he backs it out of the neighbor's driveway and leaves without a police escort. Wait a minute. Escort.
Where is the neighbor's house in relation to yours?
The neighbor house is literally my house, this house, and the neighbor's house.
So 2 doors down.
2 doors down. It's not only on that neighbor's camera. it's on the next door neighbor's camera because it's mandatory that we have cameras in our neighborhood. He did not have no police escort. We sat there and we watched him when he thought he was not being watched. I called Officer Brown, the same officer that escorted him that same morning. Did I tell you he's on camera? The officer escorts Mr. Black should remove his Mustang off the premises. I said, Mr. Brown, we just seen
this has been a whole lot. We're here for questions for him, and there hasn't been a question mark yet. So here's what we still have left, I think, to hear from is he had Mr. Blackshear. I'm going to send you a prompt to unmute. You said you had your daughter present.
I do.
Now, was she? Is it your representation that she was in the home in February for the incident that you were arrested?
She was.
Okay, so are you intending to have her testify about that?
Any question that you may have her, she was right there listening to the whole incident. So she's been there everything that we've been through. My daughter's been right there to witness it.
Okay.
Leave her out of it.
No, you brought my daughter.
Absolutely inappropriate. That is not your place. Now, this is a court hearing. You're not even on camera. I don't know what is going on today. And this is not the first case that has me wanting to bang my head on the table. But it doesn't feel that way when you're on Zoom, but this is court. And I expect everyone on this call to behave as if they are in an actual courtroom and I am sitting at the front on the bench in my robe, even though I am sitting here in my robe on Zoom. But the back and forth is not going to happen. Now, Mr. Blackshear, you can retrieve your daughter. I'll have some questions for her to kind of set the scene, and then I'll hear what she has to say.
Sit down. Let me ask you some questions.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm going to ask if you would please raise your right hand for me.
No, just before you do, Judge, first of all, I do despise it is probably me being on the camera. So I'm going to pull that off in a minute. I'm reading the chat here. I'd love to hear what you're having to drink or what strain you are consuming today. This girl, first of all, she's beautiful. And second of all, I hate that she's being dragged into this situation by her dad and her stepmother. She definitely wasn't in another room. That's obvious. She was also there for the first part of the testimony. However, I'm going to just pre-warn you guys right now. She's going to give us very little testimony because she is going to be so silent that you will think I fudged something up. And I didn't. She's just that quiet. So please stick with it. And yes, that's right. This is the first I'm counting time served earlier TPO. So this is the second TPO that we're watching of his. We have two more after this, guys. So Judge Dude, his day just got worse. Honestly, just kept getting worse and worse. So please keep that in mind. And let's just remember that for if we ever go to court, guys, here's a way that we can all be better. Let's try not to bring kids into it. Okay? It's my daily piece of advice. Anyways, let's continue. The macaroni has been distributed to the hungry child that needs it. And now I can maybe think of what I want to eat. I have to look in the fridge first, too. But let's continue. Oh, and also, the phone, she is dramatic with her, like, she knows how to say something without saying something, is what I'm saying. Anyways, Nana doesn't like my food that I make. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. There was hot dogs in it too. Anyways, doesn't she just do like the most incredibly amazing facial stuff? I didn't know how to go shopping. I do. But if you notice, I'm in a different kitchen, so maybe somebody else went shopping. We'll see when I open the fridge door. There's cream cheese. I might make myself some like basic butter pasta with like a cream cheese sauce and garlic if I have garlic. Yeah. Okay, let's continue, my friends. Also, if you're new here, please like the video or don't like it. You can literally unlike it. That is totally fine too. Just one or the other. Also, you do need to subscribe though. That's very important to me. Thank you.
Do you swear any statements that you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. You'll have to speak nice and loud because the microphone is, in the phone. Can you tell me what your name is?
Jayla Blackshear.
All right. Can you switch seats with your dad? Because I think I'll be able to hear you a lot better if we get you a couple feet closer. All right. And so that's your dad that you're sitting with, right?
Yes.
All right. And he said you were 15, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Most of the questions I have today are going to be about an incident that happened back in February where your dad got arrested. Were you in the house when that happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to ask this in two different parts. Were you able to see what was going on between him and Miss McIver, or were you able to hear it but not see it?
I was able to hear it but not see it.
Okay. So what room were they in? I don't know if they were moving around. If they were, you can just say they were in different places, but where were they?
It sounded like they were moving around.
Okay. And so where were you?
I was in my room.
Okay. What were you able to hear?
I just heard them yelling and stuff and commotion.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about where you were living. How many floors were there?
2 floors.
2 floors, and was your bedroom upstairs?
Yes, sir.
Do you think they were upstairs or downstairs?
It sounded like they were going like upstairs and downstairs.
Okay, so they were moving all through the house.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you hear anything that let you know what one of them or the other was upset about?
I didn't really listen to what they were saying. I just know I heard yelling.
Okay. Do you know anything about anybody being hurt or injured that night?
Well, I know that I saw the blood and stuff.
And do you know whose it was or how it got there?
No, I don't.
Where did you see blood?
It was like there was some on the wall and on the floor and on the rail thing by the stairs.
So was that the wall and the floor, was that upstairs or downstairs?
Downstairs.
Okay. Did you talk to the police when they came that night?
They didn't talk to me since I didn't actually see what happened.
Okay. And at the time, did you have any idea about what they were arguing about or who started the whatever argument or situation was going on?
No, I don't know who started it, but usually she starts it.
All right. Well, I think those are all the questions I have for right now. So Miss McIver, she has stated that she doesn't know in particular what this was about or how it started. Do you have any questions for her about this incident? And you'll have a prompt to unmute. You'll have to click on there.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't really have any questions for her. I would like to say something. And, I'd like to keep kids out of it.
Okay,
For
well,
the
this
most part,
isn't,
but I don't have any questions for her. No.
okay.
I do have one. When the police came, I gave her, do you remember me giving you Ariana out of my arms and telling you to take her upstairs after you were questioned by the police?
Yes.
Okay. When I gave you Ariana in my arms, did you see blood on my hands?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time today. You can go back to the rest of your afternoon wherever you'd like to be. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jayla.
All right.
Question.
All right.
Was you able to retrieve the documents that I submitted to the court?
Were they submitted as part of this case?
Yes.
Okay.
And I got an email saying that the lady said she got it and she submitted it because I submitted the
divorce, the incident report,
and the incident report.
Right. So, the incident report is hearsay because that's
okay, prepared
by the police. So what we do in those situations is we hear from participants and witnesses like yourself, like your daughter, like Miss McIver. And so that is there. And then the divorce decree is already part of the court record.
Right.
Because that's a DeKalb County case, from what I remember. I can never remember if it's Judge Jackson or Judge Johnson. And I apologize.
Actually, believe it or not, had two judges because at the second part, she I don't know what happened. She couldn't come to the second part. So it was a woman at first and then a man at the second part.
I think Judge Crawford filled in, maybe. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So anyway, those are there, and I have no problem admitting the divorce decree to the extent it's already part of our court records. But in terms of what we're here to decide today, it doesn't speak to those questions exactly.
Well, the reason why I'm just saying I feel it does because it's showing that she's basically just you're trying to get a residence that's not yours, that you don't live at. You're trying to get a property that you are not supposed to be at, and you're keeping my daughter from being able to go to school properly because you claim that this is a resident that we have when there's a court order showing you're not even supposed to be here. You've just been lucky enough not to be served or escorted off the premises by the sheriff department. So that's what she's trying to do. And she said with these calls and stuff, you're telling everybody that somebody's calling you, but you're calling my family, bragging about having a place to stay while you block me from taking my daughter home. And you say you don't want to put kids and stuff, but you think that's fair for you to have my daughter staying at Airbnbs while you and everybody else at the house that you ain't supposed to be in having fun and me paying all the bills while you saying you don't have a job, but you're not paying no rent, no mortgage, none of the sky high bills.
Cut you off here because we're okay. Well into the territory of argument. So here's what we have. You're already the subject of a special conditions bond that does a substantial majority of the things that a potential protective order would do. And what I will tell you is that the evidence here is presented and considered on a preponderance of the evidence standard. It is just more likely than not. And so your eviction and the contempt issues that you're litigating, they need to run their course in the court, in the venues in which they are. And that's happening, even though it's not as fast as you would like. The special conditions bond stays in place for however long the criminal case lasts. Based on the evidence that was presented, I think the evidence is sufficient to grant this protective order. But what I'm going to do in doing so is I'm going to state, while the order it will line up with the special conditions bond and that she temporarily is where she is, that ceases to exist at the point she's evicted. And so the eviction with regards to her residence overrides that particular portion of it. Custody will be left as it is dictated in the superior court order, with the addendum that there will be supervised exchange in accordance with NIA's place and in accordance with their regulations. And then the respondent will be ordered not to disconnect or tamper with any utilities. Now, that is not an order. Any orders you have from other jurisdictions, and this is why I hate when we have cases going on 3 places at once that direct you to pay money or take care of certain bills or whatever. Those are your orders, and you still need to follow them. This does not relieve you of those responsibilities, but I'm also not making any specific directions that you make specific payments. What I'm telling you is you can't cancel accounts, you can't turn them off, things of that nature. So whatever other directions have been given in the interim, those will need to be followed as is. Because this is a family violence order, I'm required to make part of this proceeding family violence intervention program. And so we're going to have you speak with Mr. Ellis about the requirements of that program and what will be asked next. And he'll give you the information regarding your compliance, which will be May 12th, I believe. And so typically you can provide him that information in advance so that nobody needs to appear. But we'll place Mr. Blackshear in the breakout room with Mr. Ellis. We'll place Ms. McIver in the waiting room, and she'll be able to log off.
Judge, if you
Okay, guys. So that was our first one. Give me 1 second while I finagle a few things in the background. But you can look at my lovely face while we do that. What did you think about that? Do you think that that was put in place, that should have been put in place? What do you feel? Please don't leave. We still have 2 more TPOs to watch tonight. 2 more, folks. Thank you all for being here. If you're new here, please leave a comment or subscribe, whatever. Interact with me. Let me go ahead. What we've got. So I feel bad for Judge Dude. He's having a bad day. He's already said he's hit his head against the desk because it's a bad day. And we are now moving on to the next hearing that he had. And this one, a little bit kookier than the last one. It'll just take me 1 second to find it because just because that's the way it is. That was TPO 1. Now we go to TPO 2. The girl was beautiful, wasn't she? I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. And I thought both of them were shameful. They've both talked about, I just think, again, this is a situation where they didn't need to be in court necessarily. They're already in court for 2 other things. So, okay, here we go. This one's in 2 parts because this court loves to just mess with me and cut the feed every time. Now, I believe that this one...
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kitchen Court Cases, where we watch court in my kitchen.
Whoa. Oh, do you... First of all, do you hear the speed that I said that at? I was literally trying to make the video live. I was like, oh, if I do this, I'll do it. Anyways, I will now mute. We will get into the video. I'll probably have to fix the speed. Thank you all for being here. I will dip out because my camera sort of slows things down for a little bit. But all you Scottish people in the chat, I am Scottish, and you've just reminded me of bread that I miss so much. The like really tall loaves of bread, Scotch bread. I can't remember what it's called. It comes in like it's wrapped in like a wax paper with like plaid packaging, I think. Anyways, you can't get that bread in Canada, and I miss it. Plain loaf. Yes, a plain loaf. You can't get a plain loaf in Canada. Anyways, okay, we've got this one ready to go. Uh, I will not admit to smuggling bread ever before. Never, ever, ever. Basement gardener, I'm sure you're saying lovely things that I have to look up to see what you're saying. Amy, I would bake it myself, but there's a weird, oh my God, My Crazy Life. I love Outlander. I've read all those books so many times. I'm probably losing people left, right, and center. I don't care. This is for my people. My people. Anyways, Amy, you cannot make this bread because of how it's baked. It's baked like in these different, like, uh, somebody in the chat explain how a plain loaf is different. I'm going to look it up. That would be so helpful, Basement Gardener. Even though I love it, but that will be helpful for now. And okay, here we go. Let's get on this before I get off track again.
Let's head back to the 1200D in DeKalb County, Georgia for some TPO hearings.
Did I get this one at regular speed too? Woo! If it gets fast, let me know. I'll fix it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are ready to begin. These cases will move as follows. We're going to try to hear them together and hear the facts of the cases together. Each decision will have to be made on the protective orders individually. It appears one of them is, I believe, a family violence order. One of them is a stalking order. And so since both sides are represented in this case, I've been asking a lot of questions today. I'm going to let y'all do most of that finally. And so I will let y'all direct that. In family violence orders, the questions we're tasked with answering are whether we have jurisdiction over the case, whether acts of family violence have been committed against people between whom a family violence relationship exists, and whether this order might help reduce the risk that happens again in the future. Stalking orders are similar. We want to know about jurisdiction of the case and whether there's been a pattern of intimidating or harassing behavior that serves no legitimate purpose that would justify the issuance of such an order. And those typically are for cases where a family violence relationship does not exist. So with all of that, Ms. Smith, you're representing the petitioner in this case. Do you anticipate that she will be your only witness, or did you have someone else? And I think you may have a prompt to click to unmute there.
Anticipate she will be the only witness.
All right, very good. Ms. McBean, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear the statements you make, Ms. Stacy Ann McBean? Do you swear the statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. You can put your hand down. Counsel, you can begin.
Okay. As I will start with the domestic violence case against Colin McBean first. Is that okay? That's 23 PO 3040. And in this case, petitioner is alleging violence from Mr. McBean from a situation that happened specifically February 12th. And I have a couple of video evidence. One is when there was a situation inside the house and one outside the house. Where he was reaching around her trying to get something from her, and the police were called twice during this time. And at one point, as he was following her, the police picked him up. So from there, he has on condition of his order not to come back to the house that's in DeKalb County, and to stay away from Miss Stacy Ann being at the house. So from there, I'll kind of roll into Kaylin McBean. He was to come and pick up his items from the house with a police officer. And from the understanding, Miss Stacy Ann McBean was not there when that happened, but he took some of her stuff. And at the same time, Kaylin was there as well, Kaylin McBean. And from her order, the stalking protection order, so she had some of her stuff. She noticed some of her stuff in her car when they were in the situation together, and noticed that her car has been outside the home numerous times. Has Miss McBean, Miss Kaylin McBean, has been taking mail from the home. I also have a video that I have on my iPad of her outside the home talking to Mr. McBean when, after this order, he was not supposed to be at the house, but is directing Kaylin McBean to be outside the house. And this was on March 4th, so after the February 12th order. Okay, so from there, I guess if we can see the video for petitioners 1.
Okay, well, this is an evidentiary hearing, so and we need to. That was kind of more befitting in an opening statement, which typically I move past in this setting. So, Miss McBean, your husband and you were residing together in DeKalb County at the time he was arrested. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And what was he charged with when he was arrested?
Simple battery.
Okay. And what happened? What did he do that resulted in that arrest?
Okay, so he attacked me when I was on my way out. I was going out with some friends, and he basically attacked me that Sunday morning.
Okay. And what described the actions that he carried out?
Honestly, it happened so fast because what had happened, he had taken my son's slippers and I kept asking him for it. So I took the slippers up and I was on my way out. I submitted the video where he was like standing in front of the door, stopping me from going out. I said to him, "Excuse me, I would like to leave." He was still standing there. However, I went out, Your Honor, and then upon me going out, entering the porch, that's when he just, from out of nowhere, he just come and try to grab what I had in my hand and was tossing me about a bit. As I was saying, I was like shocked. I was frightened. It happened so fast. All I was crying out was just like for somebody to help me, like help.
Okay. Did you have any visible injuries from what happened?
Just a bruise on my side. But I didn't notice that until the Monday morning when I woke up.
All right. And has there been any kind of any other physical violence?
All the time, Your Honor.
Okay. When was the last incident other than that?
Let me see. So much had happened. February. I would say maybe in December. I think it was in December.
Okay, so no other incidents in 2023.
No, just quarrel. Like he just gets up every day, cursing for no reason, angry for no reason, telling me to take my stuff out his house. taking my stuff, throwing it out the room. And at this point, whenever he starts, I try to get out of the house. Because with Colin, whenever he gets angry, he does not stop until it gets physical. And that's when he's calm. As long as it gets physical and he has his way, then everything is good after that.
All right. And so your attorney has referenced some videos. Where, how were these videos obtained, or how did you become aware of them?
The videos that I submitted to her, Your Honor?
Right.
I took those.
Okay. And so these are videos that you made yourself.
Yeah, I recorded them because the thing with Colin is whenever he does something, if I call the police, then he say, oh, it's a lie. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. So because of his behavioral pattern for over these years, I had to start recording stuff that he would do or say to have a substantial evidence, because whenever I call the police and I'm like, he did this, he's like, that's a lie. I did not touch her. I did not put my hands on her or anything. So it was always, Your Honor, my word against his.
Okay. And so, Ms. Smith, were these videos submitted to the court, or are they still in your possession?
The first two for petitioners 3040 in this case have been submitted to the court.
Okay, let's see if Madam Clerk can pull those up and screen share so we can all watch.
Do not touch me. Don't come beside me. It's not yours. Don't come beside me.
No problem. That was one answer.
All right, so when was this video taken, Ms. McBean?
That was Sunday morning, the 12th of February, Your Honor.
All right, and he was arrested when?
February 12th, that same day, Your Honor.
Okay. And have any alterations, deletions, edits, anything like that been done to that video?
No, Your Honor.
And
Actually, that's not, I'm sorry, Your Honor, but that's not the one where he attacked me. I sent 2 videos in. That's before the attack.
Can you repeat that for me, please?
I'm saying there were 2 videos. That one was never when he attacked me. There's another one where he attacked me.
All right, so, all right, Mr. Jones, you've had a chance to see State's Petitioners 1 for whatever it depicts. Do you have any objection to its admission?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so admitted. All right, Madam Clerk, can we see the other one?
Excuse me, please. Excuse me from in front of the door. I'd like to leave. Don't touch me! Yes! Help! Somebody help me! Help! Somebody help! Please! Somebody help me! Somebody help me! Please! Murder! Murder! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! It's mine!
All right, has that video been edited, altered, or changed in any way from how it was filmed?
No, Your Honor, that was the only thing I was able to record.
All right, and so, Mr. Jones, do you have any objection to its admission?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. And so what was he doing while, I mean, we can hear you, we can't necessarily see what he's doing in that video. So what is he actually doing to you at that time?
The slippers that I told you about, Your Honor, that was what he attacked me to get.
Okay, you've used the word attack close to 10 times at this point. I need descriptions of the physical acts, things like, and I'm going to give it a range of examples. It could be poking, mushing, tapping, slapping, hitting, kicking, throwing. I need descriptive verbs to help me understand what I'm seeing or not seeing in the video as best you can.
Grabbing.
And so when he grabbed you, where did he grab you, or what did he grab?
He grabbed me I had the slipper in my bosom, so he grabbed me in my bosom where the slippers was.
Okay. And so you, I guess, resisted or kind of.
Yes, Your Honor, I resisted. And that's when I was being tossed. As I said, it happened so quickly.
Okay.
But just like two footballers would tackle each other to get a football. Basically, like that's the best way I could describe it.
That's a good description. I can understand that one. So, all right. All right. And Ms. Smith, you said you had a separate video?
Yes. Related to Kaylin's. So she had sent some videos, but they were too big to send. If you're ready to see them.
Okay. And what is the video going to be about, I guess, or what will it depict?
Yeah, so one video is of Miss Stacey Ammett being recording from the other side, Miss Kaylin McBean on the phone trying to get into the house while she's talking to Mr. McBean. So I have video of that, him directing her to get into the house.
Okay. And I'll note for the record, the case numbers here are not sequential. It looks like these were filed maybe 3 days apart. I don't think we're going to be able to see them on your iPad if you're just holding it. So does that device have a way that it can also log in? Well, Ms. Broom?
I think
thoughts?
For this one, it's good to hear it so you can hear him, because it's not too much to see, and I'll unblock that. It's not too much to see here, but you can hear what's going on if you would like.
Okay, we'll do our best with it. Let's give it a shot.
Judge, you want me to show the video?
No, we're just she said it was too big to send in.
Oh, she's gonna share her screen.
Come in.
Okay.
She's just gonna she has it on a separate iPad, so she's gonna, I think, get the iPad in front of the camera. So we'll give it a try. All right, so Miss McBean, this is looking out your door, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I was making cookies. I was making. I'm looking forward.
That was the video of him or her trying to get in with him directing her. I don't know if you can hear him on the phone in the audio.
All right, Mr. Jones, do you have any objection to the emission of this video?
I actually would object to the admission as in terms of what date this is, what time this is. It's not necessarily clear. It's not stamped, time dated, or whatnot. So, I mean, if just for it being a depiction of someone on the other side of the door, that's fine. But in terms of this was Kaylin McBean on this date, I would object to that, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss McBean, did you see, when did you film this video?
That was on March 4th, Your Honor.
March 4th. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. After Colin's stay away bond.
And so were you able to see through the door to see who was outside?
Yes, Your Honor. The video was long enough for you to see Kaylin get in her vehicle and drive away.
Okay. Were you able to hear another voice?
Yes, Your Honor.
And was that a voice that was familiar to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who did you believe that to be based on your experience hearing the voice?
Not believe who I know it is. That's Colin's voice. That's Colin.
All right. Mr. Jones, I'm gonna admit the video. We're gonna work to get it in a more preservable format than what we have. I think those are questions that go to essentially weight, not admissibility, in the context of how clearly the video shows, the same way it would be for surveillance at an armed robbery. So, all right, it's admitted. Ms. Smith, did you have any questions for this witness that haven't been asked?
I do have one question. I know the respondent has Ring camera video, and just Miss Stacey Ann, do you have access to that Ring camera video?
No, Miss Smith. I have access to no cameras at all.
Okay, so he has access to those videos, and we'll see that soon. So he could also have this documented as well.
All right. Mr. Jones, questions for this witness?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. All right, Mr. McBean, your son lives in Jamaica, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Okay, and do you have any children who live in the United States?
No, Mr. Jones.
Okay. And we see in the video, after Mr. McBean and you have some discussion inside, he actually leaves and he's outside by himself, right?
When the video that I submitted, sir?
Yeah, Mr. McBean is actually outside by himself first, right?
Yes, he was on the porch when I was leaving. Yes, Mr. Jones.
And we also hear you in the video, you're screaming murder. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
And you said that there was bruising the next day. You don't have any pictures of those bruises, do you?
No, I did not take a photo of it.
And this is the 6th TPO you taken out on Mr. McBean in the past since 2021. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
I have no knowledge of that. I cannot give you a number because I have no knowledge of how many times I filed a TPO.
Is it fair to say you filed a TPO more than 5 times? Is that accurate, or is that a fair guess?
No, I might have filed and he has not been served and I had to refile.
Okay. So is it fair to say you filed at least 3 of these TPOs against Mr. McBean?
That sounds somewhat correct.
And in terms of this TPO we're here for today on, you're not certain when Mr. McBean was actually served with it, are you?
No, because I only got a message from the sheriff stating that Kaylin was served.
Okay. And
a sheriff had called me. A sheriff had called me asking me for an address for Mr. Colin. So I'm not sure if he was served. I cannot say.
What date was Kaylin served with the TPO?
That's in the messages in my phone. I think it was March. It was in March.
Like I'm gonna speed this along. This is part of the court record, and the record that I have in front of me, which is not the entry of service, but it's the calendar note, says March 30th for Miss Kaylin and March 22nd for Mr. Colin McBean. Her argument or contention is that it happened after the issuance of the stay away order for the criminal bond.
Okay.
Can I say something, please, Your Honor?
Hang on 1 minute. We're going to pause for less than 2 minutes.
Well, while Judge is obviously deciding what he wants to eat off of Uber Eats or DoorDash tonight, because this has been going long, what do you guys think so far? Oh my God, look at her hair moving. Her hair is just moving. That's insane. What is the picture behind Mr. Attorney Jabari Jones? Is that somebody doing paperwork like really, really efficiently? Is that a dab? I'm really wondering. They are polite, that is true. But that's about all we can say in this case. Doesn't it look like a guy with a desk dabbing with a yellow notepad in his hand? Mr. Jabari's looking at it too. Yes, Mr. Jones, I'm talking about the picture in your office, sir. Law art is a thing. Apparently, now what? Hold on. I just noticed something. What is Miss Perry Nina Smith sitting on? Is that some sort of rounded chair beside another chair? Like, at first I was like, oh, it's a desk. Oh, fine, Judge, get on with it.
Picking back up, Mr. Jones, where were we?
Yes. All right, Mrs. McBean. You didn't go outside or answer the door to see what Kaylin wanted on March 4th of this year, did you?
Why would I go there, Mr. Jones?
I'm just asking if you did or not. Okay.
No, I did not. We don't have dialogue. We don't speak. I don't speak to anyone in Colin's family.
Gotcha. You at one point expressed to Colin that you wanted him to help you bring your kids to the United States, correct?
Yeah, that was years ago.
And he never did that, right?
Yes, he did. He
so your
petitioned
kids
for my kids.
Okay. So you're saying Mr. McBean petitioned for your kids, but it was not successful.
We both did.
But it was not successful in terms of getting them here.
Oh no, they're not here. No.
Okay. And also, you wanted to have a child with Mr. McBean. Is that correct?
Mr. Jones, what does that have to do with this?
It's a question, and the way the rules of the court work.
And do I have to answer it?
Yes, that's how it works.
Do I have to answer it?
Yes, that's
Your
how it
Honor,
works.
do I have to answer this question?
Well, there hasn't been an objection made to the questions, and I'm not sure where the line of questioning is going. So at this time,
exactly, I don't either. I don't feel
right, but that's not a process that you're a part of in that way. So right now, you've been asked a question, and no objection has been levied. And so the way that works is that if there is a legal grounds that your attorney believes the question shouldn't, then they raise that. Hang on.
Who thinks that she wanted to make a baby with him, but he didn't want to? I'm getting that vibe. Also, is there a yellow dot on, for lack of a better term, Mushroom's head?
All right, we're going to take about a 3 to 5 minute recess. If anyone needs to fix a glass of water, stretch your legs, use the bathroom, feel free to do so. And we're going to resume momentarily.
That's off the floor? These people sitting on the floor for this hearing? Okay, guys, don't worry. I got you. We got the next part coming up. Hold on. Just hang on. This is what I live and die by, this screen right here. This video is unavailable. You weren't fast enough. But in this case, it was. And so give me a moment while I get the next video, the next part of it. Ugh. These people continue on. This lawyer, honestly, was that lawyer not like, he was begging her. He's like, lady, object. This is what you're supposed to do. Shouldn't do it. Okay, this one I was a few minutes late, so we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to slow it down and then, you know. Okay. This can go away. We already finished that one.
All right. I appreciate everybody's patience. Unfortunately, one of the hazards of virtual calendars is that sometimes there are some chaotic happenings in the courtroom that is where I am right now. So I had some things that I needed to get under control.
Don't worry, the rest will start soon. I'll get it.
Deserved. So where we left off, Mr. Jones, the question you had from Ms. McBean, she'll have to click to unmute. To continue with cross-examination, you asked a question. I believe it was whether she had discussed having children with Mr. McBean.
Can I object on relevancy?
Mr. Jones, where do you believe this is leading?
It's going to go to her motive to fabricate. In terms of him not doing things within the marriage that she wanted to do, and there being harmful consequences for Mr. McBean as a result of not doing those things.
So I guess let me ask this. When's the last time, Miss McBean, that you and Colin discussed the possibility of children?
In 2021, when he went to a urologist to have his vasectomy reversed. And in 2022, Your Honor, he went and he got a, think it's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, saying that he wants to work on the marriage. And I told him,
I don't know where she's going with this. I'm going to object. It's non-responsive to the question. It's already been answered.
I don't know that that's true because I don't know what the rest of the answer is. So go on, Miss McBean.
Yes, Your Honor, in 2021. That was the last time.
Okay, but and then what were you saying about 2022?
No, because when he went, he came back. I told him, we don't have a marriage. I don't want this marriage. I'm tired of the abuse. I'm tired of everything that comes with it. Because, Your Honor, before we got married, there were stipulations. I told Colin I was not finished having children. And he said that we're going to have a family of our own. Isn't that what normal people that are in love and married do? If they don't have kids together, start a family of their own.
So that last part was fairly responsive to the question that was asked. It's 4:30. We started at 9. I know y'all didn't start at 9, but we started at 9. And so to the extent that we can, we're going to do the best we can to focus on asking the question that's asked and not elaborating or not veering off into other things that are unrelated to that question, even though they might be related to the facts and circumstances surrounding the case. So with that general guide, Mr. Jones, you can continue.
All right. So the home that you're living in right now, Colin actually owned that home prior to you meeting him, correct?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
And you're aware that Mr. McBean started divorce proceedings back in December of 2022?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Okay. And you do have a copy of the standing order for that, those divorce proceedings, right?
Yes, I was served.
All right, just a minute. Let me look at my notes, Your Honor. That's all I have, Your Honor, for now.
All right. Ms. Smith, do you have any questions for redirect?
I do. So, Miss Stacey Ann McBean, at what point was Colin arrested outside of the house on February 12th?
I cannot tell you the specific time, but he was arrested up the street. He was arrested up the street, way from the premises.
How many times were the police called during that incident on that day?
I called them first, Miss Smith, because I know whenever calling starts, he does not stop until it gets physical. So I called the police. I was the one who called them first. Colin was the one who called them second, and that's the point where he was arrested.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McBean.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Smith, the petitioner rests. Is that correct?
Petitioner arrest.
All right. Mr. Jones.
Yes, I'd like to call Colin McBean.
All right, Mr. McBean, we're sending you a prompt to unmute. Before you testify, out of an abundance of caution, and because I do this in cases where I know criminal charges are pending, you do have the right to remain silent, and statements that you make during this proceeding can be used against you in other proceedings, including but not limited to any criminal proceedings, like a trial that might come forward about this or any other incidents that have taken place. With that advisement, is it your wish to testify today?
If my counsel want me to, I absolutely will.
Okay, well, your right to remain silent is your right, and so I believe it's your decision. Do you need time to discuss that privately with counsel before we move forward, or do you know what you would like to do?
I know what I would like to do.
And what is that?
Answer his questions.
All right, very good. Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear that the statements you make today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Mr. Jones, whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. McBean, since 2020, how many times have you been hauled into court for TPOs against your wife?
10 times.
Okay. And have you ever been violent towards her?
Have never been violent. I was accused of violence.
Okay. And have you ever threatened Stacey Ann with violence?
Have never.
Have you ever stalked or harassed her in any form or fashion?
No, my counsel.
At any point, if she's in the past told you not to contact her, have you contacted her after that?
No.
Okay, I want to.
Well, I tried to type when I was on the wrong screen.
Take you back to February 12th of this year. Let's talk about the incident between your wife and yourself. Can you briefly describe what happened leading up to the incident on the porch?
On the phone, about 5 o'clock or 4:45, Stacey Ann shook me out my sleep, expressed to me, "Are you not going to work?" I said, "No, I'm not working today." However, she gets up. I guess she had her own plans, and she puts on music at 5 o'clock in the morning. Loud music. I looked at my head, and I said, "I guess I wouldn't sleep anymore." So I put the TV on, and I started watching the news. And she continued. She called whoever, telling that I got my people coming to pick me up, so I got to take a shower. I got to get out of here. Ignore her. I called my cousin, talked with him for a while. Then I called my son, and my son and I were talking until I was arrested.
Okay, let me stop you there. In terms of the discussion about the slippers, we saw the video where you walk out the door and you're standing outside. Let's talk about that and what happened right before you left outside the house.
Okay, before I even get outside the house, she called police on me.
Okay.
I don't know what she told them, but 2 police came and they asked me if I called the police. I said no. Anybody in the home? I said yes. They said, "Who is that?" I said, supposed to be my wife. They said, what's her name? I said, Stacy Ann. They said, can I talk to her? I said, sure. So I stood out there. One officer asked me, can I talk to you? So I said, sure. It was raining. So I was about to go out there. He said, no, go put something on. So I put on my work jacket, and I went upstairs, got my slippers out of my closet. Coming down the stairs with my slippers in my hand, she shouted, that's my son's slippers. I never answered.
Whose slippers are they? Let me get
They're mine.
Okay. All right, continue.
So I stepped out, put my slippers on, speak to the officer. And that was done. They both.
And then at that point, did the officers leave, or was anybody arrested or anything like that?
No, nobody was arrested. So eventually the officer that spoke to her inside, he came out and he said, listen, it seems like you sipping on some wine. I said, yes. I said, some muscadine. He said, that looks pretty good. I said, yeah, man, it's good. And they said, if you need us, call back. And they give both of us a paper saying that we file for an eviction or restraining order.
Okay.
So all that time I'm talking to my son. I went inside to put the paper up on my dresser. When I came back, Miss Stacy Ann picked up my slippers. So I looked, I said, where's my slippers? It's my slippers. I said, Stacy Ann, give my slippers. So which I tried to approach her to give my slippers. Shouted, don't touch me, don't come close up. I left her and walked out the door.
Okay. And that's when we see you in the video standing outside by yourself.
By myself. I dialed 911, trying to get the police to come back. Because all the Stacy Ann does is always call and tell the police a bunch of lies. And, I'm tired of it.
So at that point, you call the police and you're out on the
porch.
Front porch, and explain to us what happens as Stacy Ann comes outside.
He comes outside with his slippers and said, excuse me, I would like to leave. So I step aside, and when I looked, she put the slippers just like this so I could see it. So I got up and I said, you're not going to leave my slippers. Give me my slippers.
Okay.
And she, from the time I approached her, she started shouting, help, murder, please, please. I had my phone, which I tried to talk to the 911 operator. I rested down and reached and pulled my slippers out her hands. Okay.
At any point during this, did you punch her?
I never hit her. Never.
Did you kick her?
Nothing.
Did you choke her?
No, sir.
All right. Did you throw her around?
Never did.
Okay. And at that point, were you able to get your slippers?
I pulled my slippers away.
Okay. And
at that point, operator came on the phone, and Miss Stacy Ann behind shouting, help, murder, please. So the operator asked me who it is. I said, it's my wife. She said, what's wrong? She has a mental problem. I said, I would guess. I go inside, and she come inside, following me, shouting out, murder, help. And
so afterwards, you actually go inside the house, and then she comes in after you.
She comes in after me, still shouting, help and murder.
Okay. And you're aware that there's a Ring camera on the front door, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you, of course, have had an opportunity to view this Ring camera video depiction.
If it's fine with you, I guess you can.
No, I'm just asking you, you've had an opportunity to view the Ring camera footage of the incident we're talking about, right?
I think I did.
Okay. And it hasn't been modified or altered in any form or fashion?
No, it's never modified.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to play the video marked as Respondents Exhibit 1 and have to go ahead and publish it at this time, Your Honor.
All right, give us a moment. We'll see if Ms. Broom can screen share that for us.
Okay, just let me know if this is the right one.
No, that's the petitioner's video. It's going to be it's going to start outside the home.
Okay, one more. I'm sorry, is this under 23 PO 2976?
No, it's gonna be under
3040?
3040. Yes, 23 PO 3040. And then I sent it in probably either April 5th or April 6th, if that helps.
I got it. Come on.
Excuse me, please. Excuse me from in front of the door. I'd like to leave. Don't touch me! Don't! Help! Somebody help me! Help! Somebody help! Please! Somebody help me! Somebody help me! Please! Murder! Help! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! It's mine! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Somebody help me!
Oh my God.
Get my slippers. Hello?
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
Somebody help me, please! He's got to touch me for no reason! Please, somebody help! Oh, God!
All right, so we see you in the video and you're grabbing the slippers. Is that correct, Mr. McBean?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Okay. And when you go back in the house, we hear Mrs. McBean saying bloody murder pretty much, right?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point in time, or approximately around this time, you called the police, right?
I did. I was on the phone all that time. You see, I'm standing outside before she came.
Got you. And the police arrived, soon thereafter?
Well, what happened, she left going and said she leaves. So I said, let me make sure she don't leave so I could get the police at least to stop her so they can see what she's behaving with. And as I follow her.
Y'all, I'm going to ask Stacey Ann to mute herself. She's laughing and making comments.
Yeah, we already took care of that, but
Okay.
Perfectly appropriate request.
All right, Mr. McBean. Sorry about that. I actually couldn't hear your last response. Could you repeat it?
Yes, she left and went up the road, walking very fast. So at that time, I standing there talking to my son all the time. And I say, you know what, Clavis, let me make sure that the police caught her before she left. Shortly, I see the police stop. When I come around the little turn, I saw the police hold her and put her in his car. And he told me, hold on, you stay there. So I said, where you want me? He said to stand in one of the neighbor's property. And he turned to me, came, he said, man, this don't look good. She coming up the road with speed and then you come walking behind. I said, well, I was trying, I called and I was hoping that you get her in time so you can stop her with her behavior. And next thing I know, I showed him my video of what I have. And he said, well, I'm going to tell you what. Let my partner get here. And then next thing I know, I was arrested.
Got you. And then you went to jail and you had to bond out, correct?
I had to bond out.
And one of your bond conditions said that you basically could have no contact with Stacey Ann. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean,
right.
Mr. Jones.
No problem. And have you had any contact with her since then?
I've never contacted Miss Stacey Ann.
Okay. Just a few more questions. All right. You actually filed a divorce proceedings in December of last year. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
And at any point in time, has Mrs. McBean expressed that she would use the criminal justice system to harass you?
She expressed to me that if I don't ever help her and her kids, I have effing hell to pay.
Okay. That's all I have for now, Your Honor. At least from Mr. McBean.
All right, Cross.
So, Mr. McBean, from the incident that we're talking about on February 12th, when you were outside, what shoes did you have on?
At first,
outside the door.
When the police came and I got my slippers. That's what I had on. When I was arrested, I had my slippers on.
Okay, so when you said Miss Stacey Ann was holding your slippers, did you have on those shoes?
I had them on before she took them from me when I went upstairs.
So when she had the slippers, what did you have on?
I had nothing on my feet.
Yeah, nothing on your feet. So when you took the slippers from her, in the video, it shows that you are touching her. Is that correct?
I didn't see I touch her. I mean, I'm trying to take it from her. I wouldn't say that I touch her. I never touch her in no violent way. If I did,
So from the video, when you see the two of you in even the ring video, when y'all bump against the door, you didn't feel that bump that you from pushing her at all.
no, Miss Smith, I never.
Okay, so when you called the police and at the point that you were arrested, you were following her, you said?
Yes, I was hoping that the police get there before she leave.
And why did you call the police the second time to talk to her?
Huh?
Why did you call the police the second time for them to
I never
arrest her?
called them the first. I called them only one time.
Right, the second time.
First time.
So why did you call the police the second time?
I called the police because of my slippers.
So you called the police to take the slippers from her?
Yes, that was my intention. But after she's leaving with my slippers, I decided to take my slippers from her.
And mentioned that there were other TPO orders. Have you ever had any TPO orders brought against you against anyone else besides Miss
I'm
Stacey?
going to object to relevance, Your Honor.
Yeah. We have to decide based on the interactions between these specific parties. So sustained.
Okay. So you mentioned, so even so for the parties, you know about your TPO orders that were brought against you. Have there ever been a TPO order for you from Miss Stacey Ann out of the state of Georgia?
No.
No. So, okay. So at any point, have you and Miss Stacey Ann been in New York together? Where?
We went to New York several times. We were
Okay.
last year, April.
And what happened in New York as it relates to any potential violence?
I can't remember there any violence with Stacey and I.
So you have no knowledge of any of Miss Stacey Ann saying that there was any past abuse from you?
She always say I abuse her, but I'm the one who was abused because I was scratched up and all of that, and I was still taken to jail.
You were scratched up from when? From this past incident from February 12th?
No, 2019.
Okay.
Miss Stacey had been scratching me several times.
So you were taken to jail in 2019?
Yes, by Miss Stacey.
I'm going to object to this line of questioning, Your Honor, in terms of what he was taken to jail for in 2019.
He brought it up, Your Honor, from his scratching that he mentioned that he was taken to jail.
I mean, in determining in whether he's a predominant aggressor in the present, past history between the parties is somewhat instructive there. So he's indicated that he's received scratches in the past, and so she would also get to ask, has he been arrested in the past?
Sure.
So Mr. McBean, was there the incident in 2019? Did that result in an arrest?
Yes.
And was that, what jurisdiction was that?
Syndicate.
Okay. All right, go on, counsel.
So in the divorce, you mentioned in the divorce petition, was there anything else that you requested as part of that divorce, maybe related to a temporary protection order?
Infidelity.
Okay, related to a temporary protection order?
Yes, because she's violently hitting me all the time. And every time I Police.
So from February 12th, y'all were back around each other where there was incidents of video of you pushing her into a door, correct?
Video of what? Me pushing her into a door?
Ring video we just saw.
Are you talking?
Even
When are you speaking of that?
February 12th. So you requested
Push her into the door.
you requested a protection order against her, but was back around her on February 12th where you have where we have video of y'all interacting where you were pushing her against the door. Correct? Or
Video, I'm pushing her against the door.
is it possible? I don't know if we could replay the video or
You can replay it because I never pushed her.
I mean, so what is your actual question, counsel?
the question is if it's correct that he took out this temporary protection order but was back around her for this.
Okay, when's the last time you filed for a protective order, Mr. McBean?
I filed a protective order, I think in July of last year, something like that.
So do you recall filing for one in 2023?
I've never filed a protective order against Miss Stacey Ann.
You just said you filed one last year.
Yes, I tried to. It never went through.
Okay, when you say it never went through, did you speak with a judge?
Yes, I speak to a judge and she said it wasn't enough evidence.
Okay, got it. So you filed a petition, the petition was denied. And that was, you think, last year?
Yes, it was last year.
Okay, all right, Ms. Smith.
Okay. So as part of your arrest, you were to come back and get your stuff with a police officer. Is that correct?
Yes, Ms. Smith.
Did you get your stuff from the home after?
Yes, I sure did.
Did you have a police officer with you at that time?
There were 2 police officers.
There were 2 police officers. Okay. At the time that you got your stuff, did you take any of Miss Stacey Ann's items?
No, I've never. I don't have need for anything for her. I taken my clothes, my shoes. Those were the things I taken.
And at any point, did you direct your daughter, Miss Kaylin McBean, to come back into the house with Miss Stacey Ann?
My daughter went to get my mails because I was told by the police, how would I get my mails? They said to my daughter, myself, my son, that she can go to the home, providing she don't say anything to her or anything, just get the mails and leave.
Go inside the home or to go to the mailbox?
Inside the home.
And where's the mail usually at?
Our mails, every time we go in the door, the mails always sit there on the little table in front of the door.
You said like on the porch is where your mail sits?
In the house, as soon as you stepped in the door, we have the little night light that sits there. It sits right there on that table. We call it a coffee table.
Okay, so how does the mail get on that coffee table?
Either I pick up mails or Miss Stacey Ann picks up mail. We put each other mails right there. All the mail sits there and you sort out what you want, what belongs to you.
Okay, so you directed her to go inside the house to get the mail that was sitting there. I guess my question is, at any time, why would Miss Kaylin McBean be outside getting mail at the mailbox if you're saying it was only inside?
I'm going to object to speculation, Your Honor. He doesn't know why she would be doing something.
She never went. If she looked at.
Hold on. There's an objection on.
Yeah, we're going to reframe the question. Did you ever discuss the mailbox with her?
No, I guess she would just look in the mailbox. She went to the house to get the mails.
All right, carry on, Ms. Smith.
Okay. So the video that we saw before where you were talking to her while she was trying to get in the house, what was the reason why you were directing her to get inside the house then? to be clear.
Ms. Smith, my daughter called me saying to me, Dad, I'm putting the code to get in the door. However, it's not working. And I tell her back, this is what it is. She tried it again and I kept hearing the sound. I said to her, well, you have the keys. Use the key. Maybe the battery's dead or she take the battery out. So my daughter tried and the door would not turn. So I said, well, the key I never changed it. Can't change like that. And that was about it. My daughter had somewhere to go. She had another prior function. She expressed to me, Dad, I will have to come back. I said, okay, you go back next day. If you have to, just call the police so they can escort you to get the mails. Because she told me she was hearing Miss Stacy on her phone talking.
Okay. And how does your daughter know that the mail that you are looking for is inside the house? So from my understanding, on whatever day you had 2 police officers offered to come and get your stuff, why did you not get the mail?
Mails go there all the time for me. Miss Smith, I had 40 minutes to leave that home. And I guess thoughtlessly, I just leave whatever mails is there for me. So I never send my daughter back right away. I tell her, well, you can go back at a later time and just retrieve all the mails that come otherwise to what's left.
I rest, Your Honor.
All right, redirect.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Call your next witness, please.
Miss Kaylin McBean.
All right, ma'am, you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear the statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jones, whenever you're ready.
All right. All right, Miss McBean. We've heard and saw a video that alleges you went to the home on or about March 4th. If you can recall, what was the purpose of you going to your father's home?
To get his meal.
Okay. And where were you trying to go to get the mail at the property?
The mail is usually sitting on the coffee table. As soon as you walk in the door, there's a coffee table to the left.
Were you able to get inside to get the mail?
I was not.
What did you do after that?
I called my dad and told him that I wasn't able to get inside because the keypad wasn't working. And then he was trying to instruct me how to use which key to unlock the door. And that wasn't working as well. So I told him that I would have a police come with me the next day because I had further engagements to do. At that time, so I left the premises and called the next day.
Okay. Were you able to return the next day to get any mail?
I did return. I had 2 police officers come out. They told me that they wanted to see documentation of his stay away order. I showed them, and then they told me that they could go ask, and I would stay down at the bottom of the hill. And they had already spoken to her. She told them, because they got there before I did. So she told them to call to see who called 911 at that time. By the time I got there, 911 was calling me back, but I already pulled up at that time. They told me they would go up to the hill and ask her. I stayed at the bottom. They asked her. She told them there was no mail there for him.
Okay. And what did you do after that?
I spoke with the police officers. They advised me that I don't come back again, and I never did from that day forward.
Okay. That's all I have for now, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Smith, do you have any questions for this witness?
I do, Your Honor. So, how many times did you go in between February 12th and March 3rd to get mail?
Twice.
Even that twice. And the first time, how did you try and get mail the first time?
The first time, I tried to use the keypad on the door to get inside.
That was the video?
Yes. And
what would you estimate the date is for that, Ms. McBean?
That is on March 4th.
Okay, I think Ms. Smith was asking about between February and March 4th. So were there times before that?
It was only twice.
Okay, March 4th, and then what other date?
March 5th, 2 days back to back, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, Ms. Smith, carry on.
At any time when you were getting the mail, did you ever ask Miss Stacey Ann for the mail?
I had the police officers ask.
Okay, so while you were trying to get in the house, did you ever ring the doorbell to ask for the mail?
No, because I know she wouldn't answer.
Okay. And you said you called the police to get the mail. At any time, did you ever call the United States Post Office to stop the mail coming to the house?
Never.
You said never?
Never.
Never. Okay, so sure. Your Honor, I have video of Miss Stacey Ann talking to the Postal Service, discussing the stop mail coming to the house. And she also talked to the United States Postal Service, and they said that that Miss Kaylin McBean is the one
Ms. Smith testifying essentially.
I'm
to
asking if I can show the video.
Right, but it's a.
And there's no foundation. I would still object to the foundation.
Well, let's skip ahead. Let's pretend there's a foundation. What's your next objection?
Relevance.
To the stopping.
The mail has nothing to do with whether or not Mr. McBean or Kaylin McBean is violent or harassing in nature.
Well, this is a stalking order for Miss Kaylin McBean. So
which requires a pattern of threatening or intimidating, of harassing or intimidating conduct. And so what about the video would tend to show a pattern of harassment or intimidation?
The video is a conversation that Miss Stacey Ann had with the United States Postal Service that said that her mail was stopped. She also has documented that Miss Kaylin McBean is the one that stopped the mail.
Okay. So first off, I think there's a number of issues with the video. I wouldn't even, you would have time and opportunity to lay the foundation, but the things that she's being told in that conversation are hearsay that Mr. Jones doesn't have an opportunity to cross-examine about. And so, to say nothing of the fact that we don't really know who's on the other end of that call. So, I mean, I don't think video or recording of that phone conversation is appropriate when that other party is not available. You can ask, well,
she said no, that she did not stop the mail. So we just have on record, she is the person that said no, she did not stop the mail. So back to March 5th, the next day, Sunday, you discussed that you were there with the police. Were you there at any point with the police where they said that items were moved from inside the house by Miss Stacey Ann?
No.
Okay. So the only time you were there Sunday, you only saw the police once. Is that
correct?
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Jones, any redirect?
No, just argument, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Smith, you have the right to go first and last. Which would you prefer?
I'll go last.
All right, Mr. Jones.
Yes, I'll try and be brief, but I'm confident the court can see exactly what's going on here, and that's Stacey Ann McBean using the legal system to bludgeon Mr. McBean because he did not do the things in the marriage that she thought he should, whether that was bringing her kids here or starting a family with her. For whatever reason, things began to go sour, and when they did, she started filing TPOs like they were going out of style, left and right, approximately according to Mr. McBean, umpteenth time. So we would guesstimate maybe 5 or 6 times that she's done this, and they're never granted. They're either dismissed for one reason or another. The evidence in that was admitted shows nothing of the sort of what she's describing. Whether it was right then and there, she's screaming murder, murder, as if he's, stabbing her or attacking her or trying to sexually assault her or something of that nature, basically screaming at the top of her lungs, trying to get people to think something's happening that's not. It's clear what's going on. He's simply reaching for his items. She testified that they were her sons, which makes no sense because her sons live in Jamaica. Her kids don't even live here in the United States, let alone at the property. So why would the slippers belong to her son? It's a lie. Really, it was a situation where she was being petty by basically taking his slippers. It's kind of like, look what I got. I got this. And it's childish. And maybe Mr. McBean should have, let her walk off with the slippers, somebody might say. But I would argue that they're his slippers. If she had been walking away with, thousands of dollars of his cash, is he supposed to let her walk off with that personal property as well? So the value of the property, or whether it's petty or not, doesn't take away from the fact that the only credible testimony is that they're his slippers. He was simply grabbing them back, and any contact would have been incidental. And I would argue not, rising to the nature of an actual crime. Somebody using reasonable, I wouldn't even call it force. He's really grabbing something from her. She's using equal or more force in her attempt to keep, the slippers that don't belong to her in the first place. She's really effectuating a theft by taking and then trying to get him arrested and prosecuted and then a TPO when he takes his property back. So that's what's going on there. I think the video clearly shows that, the testimony shows that she claims she was leaving, and if he's attacking her, why would she come back into the property where he's at? He's outside by himself. She follows him out there, tries to leave with the slippers, and then he grabs the slippers, comes in the home, and she follows him back in there. All the while, she's screaming bloody murder at the top of her lungs, and it's just a bunch of crap, to be frank. So that's the evidence that's in there, Your Honor. Mr. McBean has had, no problems outside of those related to Stacey Ann McBean that she just wants to, basically make his life a living hell if she can. The marriage is, being dissolved, and this is her, last attempt to just make him miserable. In terms of Kaylin McBean, the only thing we saw is her coming to the house. The testimony makes sense. Mr. McBean didn't want to come over there and didn't want to deal with her. I think the court stated that neither one of them was served in this action until, and I could be mistaken, but I wrote down March 22nd for Colin McBean and March the 30th for Kaylin McBean. So really it's out of an abundance of caution that he sends Kaylin over there, or it's because he knows there was a previous TPO that was dismissed. He's not in violation of any TPO currently. And he's doing it on the advice of the police who says, send somebody else over there to get the mail. She goes over there to get it, can't get in the home. She leaves. That's it. She's not banging on the door. She's not calling, Stacey Ann McBean any names. There's nothing of the sort. You haven't seen any call logs, any emails, any text messages with any vulgarity or any threats from, Mr. McBean or his daughter. If she did have the bruises, Stacey Ann, that is, I'm certain she would have had either video or photographs of the bruises. If he had, pushed her and was violent with her, she seems to, record a lot of things, but surprisingly or unsurprisingly, she has no recordings of these things that would be most damaging, of whether it's Kaylin McBean outside the home harassing her, whether it's Colin, doing things that cause her physical damage. Everything is just really accusations. And when the dust settles, it's just smoke and mirrors. There's nothing here. It's certainly not to warrant a TPO when Mr. McBean now has to fight a case where he's got the bond condition that is an absolute stay away order from her, which he's happy to do. So you don't have to necessarily put something in place when she already has protection in place. However, I don't think that even by a preponderance standard that there's enough here to show that there's any past violence, even though she's alleging he's been violent in the past and things of that nature, Your Honor. I would submit that this is really just an attempt to abuse the legal system and inflict as much pain as possible on Colin McBean and as a corollary on his daughter, Your Honor. That's all I have.
All right, Ms. Smith.
Okay, Your Honor. So in this case, it's clear Miss Stacy and she just wants to be left alone and feel protected from the situation that we have here, from the incident with Mr. McBean. We both have video evidence that he clearly has contact with her and even pushed her into a door, has his hands around her. And we see that in the video. And from his arrest, he was arrested following her up the street, which is why he has this condition on his bond that Miss Stacy Ann is nervous to, if he goes to court, that the temporary protection order will last longer to protect her during this time. And there's evidence, as we spoke about during testimony, from previous times that he has been arrested, and she does have previous TPOs where she feels fear of him and is scared of him. So she is doing this to protect herself in the situation of the divorce. And I think that's a simple response in for the request of the petitioner. In addition to Ms. Kaylin, we have 2 times that she showed up to the house to get mail that Mr. McBean said himself that he didn't need at the time, but for reason directed his daughter to go inside the house to get mail, and also to get mail out the mailbox. And also from Miss Stacy Ann, she has been around the house multiple times and called the police multiple times during that day, that the police showed up, and just situations where he may be using her to harass him as well. So a stalking order would be beneficial to her. It is just abundantly clear that Miss Stacy Ann McBean just wants to be protected from these two. And a temporary protection order for 12 months will help with that. So, Your Honor.
All right. A lot to unpack. We'll start with the easy stuff. And that is Miss Kaylin's case. Stalking requires a pattern of behavior to harass and intimidate that is not present here. I have legitimate questions. There is a gap between the 2 things I'm about to identify. One, stalking behavior that is sufficient to receive a protective order, and 2, something like an act of trespass or an infringement on someone's personal space. But where the truth lies in that situation as it relates to her case is that what she did, we don't have evidence that she was yelling or banging on the door or making threats or causing a scene or doing the types of things. No, ma'am, put your hand down. We're not doing that. That she was doing the types of things in these incidents that we would typically think of in the case of intimidation and harassment. And in this case, at the time this happened, a bond was in effect telling him to stay away, which he did. I think reasonable people can disagree. What I hope is that reasonable people can disagree about whether sending his daughter to retrieve mail in his name is a violation of his bond or not. I think reasonable people will hopefully agree that that was poor judgment at a minimum and maybe a violation of his bond. But it was a poor decision to carry out in that way. I know you might feel like your options are limited, and sometimes it helps to have an attorney to ask these questions to. And Mr. Jones can give good answers. But also what we've seen is that when police intervened and set those boundaries or explained what those boundaries should be, the behavior changed. And over these 6 weeks, it's a rare day that we have a case that doesn't involve a text message or an email or some social media stuff. And we don't seem to have it here, which I'm grateful for. And for Miss McBean, her behavior seems to be responsive to the instructions and the prompts that she's given. At the time that these issues took place with the mail, there was no protective order in effect. but she understood then, and she will continue to understand moving forward, that she's not welcome on that property under anybody's direction. Because if she's doing it at Mr. McBean's direction, then the court is liable to interpret that to be indirect contact, which is not permissible under the bond as it was set out when he was arrested. For Miss Kaylin's case, that is going to be dismissed and closed. Now, Mr. McBean's case is a more complicated animal. There is clearly an effort by Miss McBean on this video to draw attention that I think is partly self-serving. I think partly in the context of, I think part of it is a legitimate, earnest wish for assistance, help, intervention. And I think part of it is not. It is contrived and theatrical in a way that you would expect for someone who chooses to turn the camera on. At the same time, I watched the Ring video, and I have to ask myself whether what I see there is appropriate or not, acceptable or not, legal or not. And I come down on this particular case the same way the police did, which is I watched that video and I think what he did crossed the line. And so I understand it seems that the police had the opportunity to view that video in making their decision. And I think the video made the decision. And when I watch the video, I kind of think the same thing. It's not an attack upon her for the purpose of inflicting violence, but it is a use of physicality in a way that constitutes a simple battery. Whether his intention is to grab the slippers or not, the intention is to do the acts that result in that cause this contact, and that is essentially what it is. I mean, he's grabbing her to grab at the slippers, and when the parties are tangled up in that way, and he's moving her across the porch, or the parties are moving across the porch as it plays out. So I think there is a factual basis for an order to be issued. It is a temporary order. It will expire automatically April 17th, 2024. And for the most part, the conditions will mirror the conditions that are laid out in the special conditions bond. He's to have no contact with her whatsoever and stay 100 yards away from her home, her work, and her school. That includes direct or indirect contact or contact through third parties. He should not do anything to interfere with utility service, billing, or access to accounts. If anything has been done by any party to this case in the last 60 days that would interfere with mail or any other utility or home service, then that should be undone or removed. And if it's not, then attorneys have the ability to file a motion for contempt, and it'll be scheduled and considered before this court. And I think since this is a case of family violence, I believe I'm required by law to have the defendant attend and complete the family violence intervention program. And under federal law, he's restricted from having, carrying, or seeking the purchase of firearm or ammunitions. This is a temporary order. It does not decide any issues in the divorce case. If there is an order in the divorce case that postdates this order, there will be language incorporated into my order that reflects that the divorce will control. So if, for example, Mr. McBean gets the house in the divorce, she has temporary possession of the house until other such disposition is made of it in another court case, essentially. So, and then whatever that judge does with it as far as who should be in the property or moved where, they have the ability as superior court judges to do what they need to do with this order and with the divorce case. And so I'm sure they will. We certainly defer to our elected judges since we sit on these calendars by their designation. So, Mr. McBean, we're going to place you in a breakout room to speak to Mr. Ellis. He's our compliance officer. Ms. Stacy Ann McBean, you are free to log off. You've concluded your business with the court.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith and Mr. Jones, you're both free to log off as well. Mr. Jones, if you want to be with your client in the breakout room, you're of course welcome to, but it's just a matter of getting a couple pieces of contact information from him and then giving him a couple of referrals to consider for the program should he wish to follow through with those particular providers. So
Well, I don't know if we did rule on the slippers or not on that case. That was just peachy keen for Judge Edgerton. Poor man. And guess what, guys? It's not over. We have one more case that poor Judge Edgerton had to work on today. And so that means we all have to watch it too. Give me 1 second while I finagle that in the back end here. I think his attorney messed that up for him. Does anybody agree? Because until that point, until we saw that ring video, I don't think that I would have been
no, it's all good.
Hold on, Judge, I'm not ready yet. I don't think I would have been calling it the way it went until I saw that ring video, and at that point, we didn't really have much of a choice. Nana, do you want to say hi to everybody? That's a no. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just watch the TPO. No problem, Nana. You don't have to worry about it. Let's go, folks. This is our last one.
It's like we're at home.
You did a great job today.
We did that very well for all the
I think
be
so.
where we are. I mean, I feel not super great about kicking that 3-hour case to someone else and then we move the other one to tomorrow, but I feel like we have used our time effectively.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me bring in the respondent.
All right, bear with us, Miss Green. We're going to be getting started momentarily.
Mr. Wallace, I need you to come to the video. Not connected.
He's not connected to audio. I was this close to saying the same thing, and then I was like, he's not going to hear me.
Yeah. Hopefully he comes back.
Thank you.
Come back to the screen. Oh, I see something. Hopefully he see us. This is why I don't need a doorbell.
Yeah, like if you've got Find My iPhone on your phone, you can make whatever you're looking for to start dinging.
Yes.
Yeah, we have. So like, you know how some couches you get the cushions and then you got like that liner that's underneath the cushions that covers up the bones of the couch.
Mm-hmm.
We have a hole in one of those. And so if something falls in there, you would never know it's gone. Except we've lost so many things down there that now we know to look. But yeah, that would come in handy. All right. So he failed to connect the audio. He's trying again though. So hey. All right, Mr. Wallace, I think you can hear me now. And then if you unmute, I believe we'll be able to hear you. I've sent you a prompt to do that. See if you can click through.
Okay, can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you. We've done well today. So I know it's 5:24. I want to thank y'all for being patient with us. Believe it or not, y'all are the last two people we're going to help today, but there were other people we knew we were not going to reach, and we had to get them other court dates. It has been that kind of day, and there has been no break. So I thank you for bearing with us through that. The way that this hearing works is as follows. It's the petitioner's case, that's Ms. Green. And so she has the burden of showing that it's more likely than not that there have been acts of family violence committed, and this order might help prevent that in the future. So we hear her testimony. You have an opportunity to ask her questions. That time is just for questions, understanding you essentially suggest those to the court. If I think they're relevant or appropriate, I'll ask them. If I think they're not, or that they're overlapping things that are already covered, then typically I will not ask those questions. I understand that the parties don't agree about the facts of the case. That's why we're having the hearing in the first place. And so, to the extent that that's true, some things are better handled through your own testimony than through questioning someone who you know doesn't really agree. So we'll do the best we can to move through these questions and focus on the things that we need to discuss. But generally speaking, we want to confirm that we have jurisdiction over the case. That there have been, we'll ask questions about incidents that involve family violence, stalking, property damage, or any felony offenses. And then there will be opportunities for cross-examination and for you to present your own evidence, Mr. Wallace, if you choose to do so. Understanding the statements you make can be used against you if there are other court proceedings in which they would be relevant or useful. So with all that said, Ms. Green, I'll ask you to come square up with the camera for me and raise your right hand. Do you swear any statements you make with the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You can put your hand down. And you and the respondent, you believe the respondent will be a DeKalb County resident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And
All
I'm
right.
sorry. I'm just
you-
cooking dinner now. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm cooking dinner right now. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. We'll work through it. So you said this is a present or past spouse. Are you two still married?
Past
Okay. When were you divorced?
July 9th of 2019.
Okay, so almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you have a child together that's 12, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Let's see here. So I have to. All right. So I think you filed sort of a narrative to your petition here that got clipped off once and then attached back later. So let me start by asking this. When is the last time Mr. Wallace was physically violent with you?
I would say it was actually September of 2017 or 16 physically. Thank you. No. Small.
Okay. And so
Should I say
so
something?
you do no, you may
Okay.
not. If you have a legal objection to something that's being discussed, and you can make that state the grounds for your legal objection. But the way that this works is we go through all the questions with her, all the
Okay.
questions you might want me to ask her. And then after all that is the opportunity for you to make your own statements. And so it's a tough seat to sit in, just having to kind of, you almost have to sit there and take it. But since it's their burden of proof, before you're asked whether you want to do anything or not, you get to hear everything they have to say. That's the silver lining. So what led you to file this petition that's happened recently?
Most recently, what led me to file a petition is because Mr. Wallace made me feel very uncomfortable once again, placed me in fear of my personal self. March 24th, I had petitioned Gwinnett County Court for about like the 13th or 14th time for contempt, for non-payment of child support and things of that nature. And after the hearing, Mr. Wallace left the courtroom about maybe like 60 seconds before I did, about a minute or so. And when I finally did gather my things, I walked out of the courtroom and I could hear Mr. Wallace, referring to me as a bitch. He was there with his mom, and he was there with another.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to pause it because, oh fuck. It's dark out now. I'm wearing my coat. I may have been on the porch. No, but seriously, you guys, it's like Carrie, who I love. Carrie, thank you for always keeping the chat helpful. I don't think you're here tonight, but she's very helpful to me. And Carrie reminds us all about no swearing, okay? we're not supposed to swear because of my YouTube daddy, and him and I are just sorting out our relationship, and I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. So once me and YouTube daddy have sorted that out, we'll figure it out. But until then, we have to be on our best behavior. No porch, no swearing. Um, this woman got the memo. We are going to hear swears, folks, but we aren't going to really hear them, and I want you to enjoy this. Also, what do you think she was cooking for dinner? What just happened there when somebody came in? What was so important that you couldn't just be like, we're going to eat in half an hour? It baffles me. Okay, now we can continue.
Young lady that they communicated to the judge that she was actually like his father's like nurse or what have you. But she was there, his mother was there, and he was there. Just prior to the judge, adjourning court, like ending court, the last thing she asked him if he had anything to say, and he requested a paternity test, which really just, to be honest with you, blew my mind. We've been divorced for like almost 4 years, but we were married for 14. I couldn't believe that he even made that statement that he wanted a paternity test. However, he leaves out of the courtroom. I leave 1 minute or so after Mr. Wallace.
No. Did she just say comma? However, comma? Oh, she has her own little language. Oh, when you rewatch these again, you get the best little tidbits. Also, her nails. Listen, folks, when me and YouTube Daddy sort out our issues, I'm going to get my nails done again, but I don't get them long. They stay short, okay? But I do like having my nails did. No lie about that. Oh my gosh. Somebody also told me there was a naked person in this video. We're going to re-rack that after we finish just to look at that. Okay.
Could hear from the corridor of the courtroom before the doors closed behind me, Mr. Wallace referring to me as a bitch. This bitch, this be that, this be this be that. Nonetheless, I'm walking. I couldn't see him, but I could hear him. I'm walking toward the escalator. And I'm walking toward the escalator. And I'm sorry, I just don't want to look at Mr. Wallace right now. I'm so sorry. His picture is really big right now on the screen. I don't like that.
Okay, what am I looking at right now?
I just covered up the camera and I apologize, but his face is right there. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you can change the view on your screen so that it doesn't show him, but we need to be able to see you and
okay, right. So I leave out of the courtroom. I hear him referring to me as a BITCH. I walk out. As I'm coming, I finally meet them. We're walking. I sent videos of that particular incident as well. And he's just calling me B. So now that he sees me, he's calling me directly. This B. F-U-B-I-T-C-H. F-U, you're not going to get S-H-I-T. You're a crab, A-S-S-B-I-T-C-H. And at first, I didn't say a word to him. And then I told him, I said, Zach, you will never see my daughter again. Never. Oh, F-U-U-B-I-T-C-H. His mom is standing right there. We finally get to, because at this point, I'm just trying to hurry and get to my vehicle, like get downstairs to where, because there were no officers up there. I'm trying to get to where I can just feel safer, like, you know what? Because I know him. I'm walking toward the escalator. He stops at the top of the escalator, although he was the one that was leading. He was leading in front. He was first. His mom's like 5'2". She was behind him. The nurse is like 5'2". She was behind the mother. He stops at the top of the escalator instead of continuing to go down the escalator. And he just commits to cursing me. Like now he's doing it face to face rather than me just looking at him and hearing him. He's face to face. And then I stand there.
Like how far, you said face to face, how far apart do you think you two were?
If you look at the video, you can confirm that he's all of maybe 2 or 3 feet away. Maybe 3 feet, maybe. And he's cursing me. He's calling me out of my name, which is the female dog name. Repeatedly, I'm not giving you S-H-I-T, F-U, F-U. And I told him, he says, excuse me, B, I'm not giving you SHIT. I said, okay, Zach. I said, Zach, stop calling me a BITCH. Your mother's right there. That's exactly what I told him. Oh, F you, B. If you look at the video, sir, you will see his mother begins to grab him to try to push him down the escalator because he will put him, guide him down the escalator, excuse me, because he then, after continuously calling me out of my name, he tells me, I will knock you, I will F and knock you over the escalator. So, and then turned to me and said, and this one, if you look in the video, I had my hand up. I said, do you see all of these cameras facing you, Zach? You're not crazy. He says, you're not going to do SHIT. You're not going to do SHIT. And Mr. Wallace is a very calm, he's like a quiet storm. So he can be calm and still be very direct and aggressive. So he lets me know very clearly that he's going to knock me off the escalator. So that is when I took a step back and braced myself. His mother began to grab him and push him down the escalator, put him down the escalator, guide him down the escalator, where he continued to call me out of my name. Continued until we got downstairs. I'm walking in one direction, going to the right. He's walking because Gwinnett County has a new side now. They're going the opposite direction. As he's calling me out of my name and threatening me, the young lady that was with them, I do not know her name. She is the only one that says, Zach, don't do that. Zach, stop. Don't do that. So I turned to her and I began to say something to her. He says, don't talk to that B. Don't talk to that F and B. This is when we're going down the escalator. And so I go my way, he go his. I get to my truck and I just drive home and I'm processing what happened. At this time, sir, it's probably like about maybe 3 or so. I have to go pick my daughter up. That was a Friday afternoon. Monday, first thing, I went to the courthouse and I requested the actual video of what took place at the escalator and up the hallway. This is not the first time that Mr. Wallace has been verbally abusive to me, even well after the divorce. Mr. Wallace has came to my—
So did you tender, so you referenced an exhibit. Did you send a video that, I see a handful of videos. Are these ones that you took?
Yes, no, some of those are actually from Gwinnett County Courthouse, and you will see the information listed as such on the videos. Most of them are actual videos that you will see. It says Gwinnett County Superior Court or whatever. The other one is my cameras that we have here at my home, in my neighbor's home, where Mr. Wallace came about a year or so ago. I also petitioned the court for a TPO at that time. But Mr. Wallace, just like last week when they attempted to serve him, his mother was dishonest with the sheriff. She lied. You'll hear the video as well.
All right, so let me see if I can get Ms. Broom to pull up the video.
Thank you.
Okay, Judge, while this is one of them that I found.
We'll just, we can just roll through them in order. All right. Well, I'm going to guess that you're not stuck to the ceiling taping this on your phone. I'm guessing this is security footage.
Absolutely.
All right. And so who is the gentleman in the Calvin Klein?
That's that. That's Mr. Wallace.
All right. And that's his mother holding on to him?
Yes.
All right. And I'm going to move my screens that are still on. All right. And who's the person in the back?
That's the nurse that I was referring to. She's the nurse.
Okay. All right. Very good. Ms. Broom, you can play whatever you see next.
That doesn't apply. That's somebody totally different. I'm sorry. I accidentally put that in there.
Okay. All right. We'll keep moving.
Okay, you said that one is not yours. Okay.
That is mine, but it doesn't apply to this case. I accidentally added that by accident.
Okay, hold on.
I'm sorry, hold on. I missed the entire escalator video on the first go round when this was recording, obviously. Like, I live in my kitchen, do stuff, so I was doing something. I didn't even see the escalator video. What happened on that video? Actually, I'm in charge. I'm gonna re-rack it. Because first of all, she included some other video that doesn't make any sense. But I don't think, let's see, we're going to watch this again. I don't think anything happens in this video.
Taping this on your phone. I'm guessing this is security footage.
Absolutely.
All right. And so who is the gentleman in the Calvin Klein?
That's that. That's Mr. Wallace.
All right. And that's his mother holding on to him?
Yes.
All right. And I'm going to move my screens that are still on. All right. And who's the person in the back?
That's the nurse that I was referring to. She's the nurse.
Okay. All right. Very good. Miss Broom, you can play whatever you see next.
That doesn't apply. That's somebody totally different. I'm sorry. I accidentally put that in there.
Okay.
Hello, I can't hear anything.
Nothing's being said. You're good.
All right.
Never hurts to ask.
Now this is the video.
I promise.
When is this video from?
Mama, it's a video from July of 2021 or 2021, I believe. If you look at the date, it may be 21 or 22. It's just like a year old. Mr. Wallace came over after about 4 years. After we had left court, we had just left court regarding the property that was actually awarded to me at 100%. He came over with the guidance of his attorney, making an attempt to get my daughter for the first time in over a year or two. And we're having a conversation. He popped up. We're having a conversation at the door. And I made it clear to Mr. Wallace, and you will hear where I made it clear she's not going. Mr. Wallace has, and this is the God's honest truth. God's honest truth on my mother's grave. Mr. Wallace, I'm not saying Mr. Wallace, but he lives with his mother who he controls. His father is a molester.
All right. We are so far off the rails.
No, it's going to make sense in just a minute, sir, because you will hear me state this in the video as well. He came to get my daughter. I made it very clear that she could not go. It was not his weekend.
What is the purpose? Okay, hold on. What is the purpose for which you are introducing this video?
So that you can see in the next video that the car that's in the driveway belongs to Mr. Wallace, and he tried to ram my vehicle when I was taking my daughter to ballet class. So I'm just making sure that the courts know and understand that the video in this video in this at my porch, there's a car standing in my driveway behind him, where I have contractors at my home. Mr. Wallace, out of the blue, when I go to leave in the next video that she may show you, is him trying to crash into my truck.
Okay, so let's play this video so I can see the car. I would not, in a million years, I would not have been looking for a car in all of this. You could have given me you could have given me all the guesses all day of what I was supposed to glean from this, and the car in the background would never have come up. So let's watch it and see what we get.
Thank you.
Next time that you exercise, excuse me, please, sir. I promise you, I'm not angry on my mama and my kids. No, I'm not angry, sweetheart. It just is what it is. You left my daughter in the basement. Your people are not safe. You left my daughter in the basement. Okay. Why she not safe? It's hot. The sun glaring down on me. It's hot. I'm not gonna stand outside and do this with you. I promise to God. I promise to God. I'm not angry. Other than the mere fact that you've been gone for 4 years, you have never truly.
All right. Well, let's see what the next video shows.
This is Mr. Wallace's black vehicle right behind the contractor's truck.
Okay, so on the far side of the street, the SUV.
Yes, me and my little girl just got into the car from my garage. If you need to rewind it, you can. You can see us getting into the garage. She was 11 years old at the time. She's getting in the back seat. I'm making sure she's getting in the back. I am entering the front. I had no idea that his car was parked behind my contractor's truck. No idea. Until he came.
I'm sorry. So your house is where is this video taken from?
It's directly across the street at my neighbor's house, and I can stand outside right now and show you the same, sir.
Okay, so your black SUV is in the, I'm going to say the top left. It's not all the way to the left, but that's you dealing with the black SUV that the vision of which is partially impeded by the contractor's truck, correct?
That is correct, and you can
And
see
Mr. Wallace's black SUV is parked on the street behind the trailer of the contractor's truck near the top right, but not all the way there.
That is correct, sir.
Got it. And then this gray or black sedan in the foreground is not relevant to all of this.
That is just the neighbors whose cameras it's coming from.
So is this the same day or is this the same day as the previous video?
It's the same day, sir. And you can see the red bonnet, the white shirt on me, and the red bonnet on my head.
Okay, and what's the separation in time from the conversation in the first video to now, roughly?
All of maybe about 5 to 10 minutes, because it was ballet time. Like it's ballet time now.
Okay, understood. And I'm guessing from the sun, it's probably late afternoon.
Yes, sir. It's definitely after 4 o'clock because ballet starts at 5. And after he did this, he followed me for 17 minutes all the way to Brazelton.
Because you live in Gwinnett.
Yes, sir.
Okay, understood.
And my daughter, sir, is in the passenger left side.
Okay, and so so my video is partially blocked by the Zoom barrier. Miss Broom, does yours have a timestamp or a date stamp on it?
No, I don't see one on here.
Okay, so you said your daughter was 11 when that happened and she's 12 now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
I have no reason to get on here and be
I'm not the best at math, but that would tend to point to it happening last summer.
Yes, sir.
Got it. All right. I think that's all the questions I have for the moment. We may have some things to circle back to in what would essentially be redirect. Mr. Wallace, do you have any questions for this witness that you wish to suggest to the court?
Yes. Do you have any video of when you first walked out of the courtroom? Because when you first walked out the courtroom, you was the first one to speak to me. You the first one start to me. And also, could you finish that video when we was on the carport? Don't cut off, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When I get ready to speak, you know what I'm saying? I am not a violent person, but go ahead.
Well, so a couple things. I'm going to tell both of y'all this. This decision is not getting made about the words. Well, what was said on the porch, she was not introducing for the purposes of the discussion itself. She was trying to show the vehicle. You're using that to establish that the vehicle was yours.
No, I couldn't see a vehicle, but okay.
Are you having trouble hearing me?
I said I couldn't see a vehicle, but go ahead.
No, she's talking about the vehicle from the second video. She's saying was your vehicle.
Yeah, I understand that, but the first video I didn't see the vehicle.
And Your Honor, I have 4
No,
more.
ma'am, no, please just. My train, the train up here jumps the tracks real fast at 5:45 when we've been doing court since 9. So if I don't get it out, then there's no telling where we end up.
Okay.
So, the testimony that she gave is that she heard you talking about her and that there was a conversation that started after that. So, the context of who said something to whom, her contention is that you were speaking loud enough to be heard. You weren't speaking to her, but you were speaking loud enough to be heard. And that the discussion followed from there that was depicted in part of that video. So that is her contention for that. And then as to the porch discussion, I will be honest, for the purposes of this hearing, what was discussed there has no bearing on it at all. And I'm not paying attention to it because the porch discussion is not about violence or threats or intimidation. I understand there was an argument between the two of you, but it's just there as scene setting and context for the video that followed. So do you have questions otherwise about what we've seen today?
Yes, I did like to know, does she have any other video other than that? Because that's really not showing anything. The courthouse video, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the courthouse video.
Okay.
She had say she
So
had more
let's
than
see if
one.
Ms. Broom can look, and she can see if there are other courthouse videos mixed in there. And while she's looking, Ms. Green, do you know how many videos from the courthouse were submitted?
They gave me 2 videos, sir.
Okay.
One of the people, and I can send it to you right now. It's for 3 minutes, where there's more so right outside the door. There is people.
How many videos from the courthouse did you submit to the court, to us?
Oh, like 1 video, 1 or 2
Okay,
videos.
so the one that we have is the one that we have, and I can tell you a 3-minute video is almost certainly going to be too big for us to receive and play it.
Right. It
And
wouldn't
Mr.
go through
Wallace,
it.
just to give you some perspective on this, we had somebody else who tried to send us a 14-minute video, and they had to break it into 7 2-minute clips.
Okay.
And so even if she had tried to submit that 3-minute video, the system would have automatically rejected it, and we would not have known unless we had asked her. So when you have your turn to testify, you'll be able to give your version of how that event unfolded. And in the meantime, you can ask questions like, like we can pose the question this way. Ms. Green, I know you gave a statement that you heard him talking about you. Did you speak to him, or did he speak to you first?
Okay, I see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
So Ms. Green, what's your answer to that question?
As soon as Mr. Wallace saw me, Mr. Wallace turned around, because if you look at the video, you can even see where Mr. Wallace's feet, when he was walking forward, his feet and legs turned backwards. Therefore, he turned around. When he saw that it was actually me walking behind him, I'm 5'9". I walk fast. My legs are long. He seen me. He commits to cursing me again. Now you're cursing me. I said, you will never see my
Okay,
daughter.
so the answer to the question I asked, I'm inferring, is that he started talking to you before, and you did not start talking to him.
No, I was behind him. His mother was trying to tell him to come on, even in the lobby area.
All right, so Mr. Wallace, that is her answer to your question.
Okay.
You have the opportunity to give your testimony when we have finished questioning this witness. Do you have other questions you wish to suggest for this witness?
Okay, I guess that'll be it for me.
Okay. Ms. Green, did you have anybody else you intended to call as a witness?
Yes, I do.
Who was that?
It's my oldest daughter. And if we have to put, I don't want to, but if we have to put my 12-year-old on here, who also witnessed Mr. Wallace in our driveway in his Chevy Malibu.
All right, what violence or acts of violence do you believe your oldest daughter has witnessed?
They both witnessed physical violence.
Within the last year?
Within the last year, I live in Gwinnett. He lives in DeKalb. We don't talk. He doesn't come around me.
So I'm just going to tell you that you're here seeking an emergency protective order.
Yes.
And so to the extent that the things they're going to talk about are these things that happen in the course of your marriage for the most part, and the immediate aftermath of the impending divorce?
Correct. Okay. And yes.
Got it. Okay. I don't believe I need to hear from those witnesses who have, given that timetable for it. And so I think we can move past that, and we don't need to put them through testifying. So Mr. Wallace, what we're concerning ourselves with for the most part, and though you certainly have some latitude since it's your case, if you choose to testify, the day of the porch discussion is what I'm going to refer to it as, and the incident at the courthouse. If there are other things you think need to be called to the court's attention that either have not come up yet or have not been addressed satisfactorily, then of course you may do so. You also have a right to remain silent if I haven't mentioned that, and the things you say in these proceedings can always be used against the parties that say them. Do you wish to testify today?
Most definitely.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the statements you make to the court will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. All right. What would you like to tell us today?
Okay. First of all, when we walked out the courtroom, first of all, we went to court for contempt on child support and other money matters. And also, she was trying to get my daughter's last name changed. So I guess she was upset that I said something about the paternity test. So when I was headed to the elevator, she came out busting out of the courtroom doors. That's why I would like more video. She busted out the courtroom door. You will never see Zaria again. You know what I'm saying? That's my daughter. That's the only reason I turned around. Other than that, I would have never even knew she was coming out of the room because I was walking straight ahead. And also, if she was feared for a threat for her life, she wouldn't have walked that close to me. She wouldn't have kept walking towards me if she was so fearful for my life. And second of all, this is the second time she came to the cab kind of do a TPO. The first time she came to did the TPO in 20, I want to say that was 20, maybe 17 or 18. I missed the court date because I thought it was at 12 o'clock, but it was in courtroom 1200. That's the only reason I missed the court date, so I couldn't defend myself. And they granted to her. But soon after that, I have video where after she had the TPO, she came over to my business, you know what I'm saying, threatening me and this.
I'm just going to jump in here. If we're talking about stuff that happened before COVID was the thing.
Yes, what I'm saying is she's not threat for her life. She's just trying to get paperwork so she can take my custody away from my daughter. That's what this is really all about.
And what is your custody? What is your custody arrangement at present?
Right now, it's joint legal custody.
Okay, so what visitation, if any, do you have?
I have visitation rights, but she would not let me see my daughter. That's the only reason I showed up.
What does the order say you're supposed to spend with your daughter time wise?
I'm supposed to get her every other weekend, which I need to get that changed to every first, third, or fifth weekend. I need to be specified. That's what the Gwinnett County Police told me. Told me that I need to get that specified. So when I go over there, it will be clear to the police so they can, you know what I'm saying, do something about it. And I get holidays and Father Days and stuff like that on the odd years or the even years or something like that.
Okay, but so somewhere along the way, that little form was filled out where there's 2 columns for each parent, and it's even year and odd year, and all that stuff was divvied up. But in terms of the regular day-to-day, every other weekend is supposed to be your designated, conventional assignment.
That's why when you saw us on the porch talking, that was one weekend, and then since she wouldn't let me come, I called the police, got a report of that. So since the police said it's not clear, so I said, let me go back the next weekend. That's when I was in my SUV and she tried to run to the car and jump in the car and leave. I just followed them. I had the police on the phone when I was following her. I would never hit her car with my car. I wouldn't do that. Why am I damaging my own vehicle? You know what I mean? So she just would not let me see my daughter. She's just trying to take visitation, trying to change my daughter's name. It's just a mess. You know what I'm saying? At one point we discussed co-parenting, doing a better job at it. But you know what I'm saying? She just will not get there for some odd reason. I don't know what her problem is, but you know what I'm saying? She know I love my kids. I was there and helped raise her oldest daughter, took her to school. I was good enough when we was married. But since this divorce, she wouldn't act like I'm the horriblest person in the world, would not let me see my daughter. It's just a mess.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I speak when you have a moment, please?
Well, not exactly, but you'll have a chance to ask him questions when he's done speaking. Mr. Wallace, is there anything else you wanted to introduce as far as statements?
I think that's about it.
All right. Ma'am, do you have questions that you wish to ask this witness? Or
Yes,
you think
sir.
the court should ask this witness? Yes. What is that?
The first one, I would prefer the court ask Mr. Wallace. Not that I don't know if you said that it's irrelevant, but in 2018, he is correct. This is actually the third time, twice.
Yeah, we're not correcting all this. I'm interested in the facts of incidents that have happened, not the procedural history or the court history, and certainly not for stuff that is pre-2020.
Fair enough, because this stuff is 5 and 6 years old. However, Your Honor, sir, Mr. Wallace has not, and it's, again, I swore myself and I don't have any reason to be dishonest. Mr. Wallace does not at all. Actually, the divorce decree that I can submit to you all right now is right here on my MacBook.
What questions do you have for this witness?
When is the last time that he has ever made an attempt to actually utilize visitation? Actually, that doesn't even apply.
This is not what we're here for.
Exactly. So honestly, sir, I don't have any other question. I don't have any questions for Mr. Wallace other than the mere fact that he is violent. He places me in fear of my life. He was violent throughout our marriage. I have a scar on my forehead right here.
Okay, this is not the appropriate time for this either. This is like, this has been all day. It is like there was a discussion in the waiting room amongst all the participants in today's hearings that this was going to go. We are 9 hours in to this calendar because nobody can adhere to any kind of structure or procedure. They can't ask questions when it's question time. They want to argue and make statements and then take the floor back from the person whose turn it is when they've already had their turn to go through the things. The questions that you asserted were not relevant to this proceeding. Your point is well taken all the same.
Can you all?
Mr. Green made the statements that he wanted to make. And so, or excuse me, Mr. Wallace made the statements that when it was his turn, everybody put your hands down. We are not raising hands. We are not unmuting. There is an evidentiary record in a court case. Whether you knew it or not, you became lawyers today. When we started this hearing at 5:15 or whatever time it was, you got a temporary honorary bar card and you became the lawyer. And so there is a process that we go through, rules of evidence and procedure, and essentially order of operations of how we handle these things. And every little thing does not have to be parsed out or argued about or hashed out, especially when it's things that happened years ago. And that does not diminish the severity of the things that happened years ago, but it is an acknowledgement that those things are not part of every legal proceeding that involves the parties that are here today. I make a decision based on the facts that are before me. I do have jurisdiction over this case. It's undisputed that he lives in DeKalb County. And so the questions that I have are these two incidents that have happened within the past year, and determining whether or not there have been acts of family violence committed. The courthouse, I think the behavior there was wholly inappropriate and also not necessarily violent. Now, whether Ms. Green feels threatened or not in that context is informed in large part by that distant past and the history of the relationship between the parties. And so it's not exactly for me to say how she did or didn't feel, but that's not what's going to control my decision today. That video is horrific. I can't believe there weren't criminal charges. I can hear the tires chirp on that video from across the street when you start to move. And then I see what happens as she pulls out of the driveway thereafter. And yeah, you're right. You had absolutely no intention of damaging your vehicle. That doesn't mean that you might not have done it anyway if you hadn't screwed up, or if you had screwed up or hit the brakes at the wrong time or without the appropriate amount of force. But I have no doubt that you intended to create a feeling in Miss Green with what you did on that day. It is clear as day that that was your intention. So I am absolutely going to grant this order. Now, you will be required as part of this order to attend Family Violence Intervention Program and complete compliance as necessary. One member of our court team will get your email address to make sure that we have a means to contact you. You'll be ordered to stay away from Miss Green and from her homework and school. And then you will be ordered that any visitation you have for the duration of this order, which is through April 17th, 2024, will take place through Mia's place. Property.
Folks, look at the ceiling fan behind this gentleman. Are those feathers? Are those feather fan blades? Wow. I want to say, Judge Edgerton, I'm so glad you found the mute button and that you are quick to use it and that you keep it muted. It's like the game. That woman thought, oh, there's a problem with my button. No, there's no problem. They just kept pressing it. Okay, we're going to finish watching this. There's still 2 minutes left. But, dude, that's the best fan I've ever seen. That's a Hundy P best.
Has already been separated. Parties are living apart. We don't have any concerns in that regard to address. This order does not prohibit communication with the child. If the child, I don't know if the child, they're around the age, they may have independent ability to communicate. And if they choose to do so, that's their business. Some people have the smartwatch or the phone or iPad, whatever it may be. But what is clear is that there's to be no contact, direct, indirect, or through third parties, including but not limited to the children. Children are not, they're not messengers, between Miss Green and Mr. Wallace. And so that is my ruling for today. We're going to place you in a breakout room, and we're going to, Mr. Wallace, and we're going to get your phone number and email address so that Mr. Ellis, our compliance officer, will be able to provide you some materials that you need. Miss Green, you have been with us for 9 hours today, and you have fulfilled your obligations to the court. And with that, we're going to place you in the waiting room, and you'll be free to log off. This order will be on file with the Superior Court Clerk's office by the end of the week. So thank you all for your patience, for the incredibly long wait we had getting to today's calendar, and for your time in handling the hearing itself. So we are going to move the parties where they need to be, and then we will get the information.
Well, who saw that coming? Vandalier! That is the best. Yeah, you want me to rewatch the... Let's see here. Rewatch... First of all, is there a naked person? Let's just check that real quick. But I don't need to listen to them. So we can just meet them. We can watch it while I talk. That sounds a lot better. I'm gonna watch it on fast speed too. Thank you, comma judge. Exactly. Where was the naked person? She's making something for dinner here. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We got another weird fan. Look at this. These people and their fans. I am like a little shook. If I've never seen either of these style of fans in my life, and I've seen a lot of ceiling fans. I'm being serious. This is craziness. Let's also, this gentleman Zachary here, he spells his name Zachary with an E. That's a different kind of person. That's a different kind of person. That is a cool fan. Again, I appreciate cool things. That's a cool fan. Right there is the person? Right there. You shouldn't me. Oh. Oh my god! Oh my god. Oh, go away, bottom bar. How do I make you go away so we can see it? I can't believe I got it. That's perfect. Oh my god. Oh, who is that? What is going on? Oh my god. I swear to God. That's a guy. It totally is a guy. He looks like he's in a movie. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's just play that through, see where he goes. Oh my god. Oh no, it is a girl. It is a girl. The towel dropped. They weren't naked. That's a tank top. Hold on. Hold on. I have the power to go really slow. Here we go. Frame by frame. Oh my god. Super slow. Shambraya's nails, her pretty nice too. She feels a little bit of competition with the other nail girl. That's funny. Okay, now we go to the. Oh, wow. Did anybody? I know, I'm trying to get rid of the gray. Did anybody just see this? I just literally clicked on the exact right spot. Well, let's watch this one. I guess we're in super slow-mo again. Oh, is it still, it's playing. Oh, it's playing. That's how slow this is right now. We'll go half speed. Okay, so he's leaving first. Her door is closing. He's leaving. I think he's angry. He's like, "Ugh, I gotta go." She pulls out without really checking if it's safe. To be honest with you, I'll back it up to where it starts. I'll back it up to where it starts. I think they. Hold on, go back 10 seconds. Here we go. He did pull out first. She did not yield. I'm not saying that this is the beginning. This is we're playing it. I don't doubt that what he did was unsafe. It doesn't matter what his intentions were. What happened was he was in the car driving, and like if this had happened with strangers, he would also, well, I don't actually know about that. I wonder if liability wise, she might be liable for pulling out of the driveway. So she's put the kid in now. Talk, whatever, lady. I don't think he stops because she pulls in front. He can't go. So I think that she, in fact, sort of hustles. She obviously, well, again, we don't even know what the date was. What I think, John, is that he realizes, oh my God, they're leaving now. He wants to leave ahead of them. He does not want her to see him. He wants to drive away in front of her. And so he zooms off, probably not watching when he is and trying to get fast, but she pulls out of a driveway not really noticing or on purpose in front of him, and he has to brake. I don't disagree that he should have he accelerated unsafely for a vehicle that is in the roadway. However, I feel like she might have some liability there. Again, he's waiting. I think he's trying to get out of there before she did. If he was following her, like she claimed, for 17 minutes, why would he almost hit them? It's a very odd move because she could just, drive somewhere. Anyways, we're watching this really slow, but this is what I like to do. Shared liability is the vote. I think so. I think that, especially with this video, they may say that he pulled out and it wasn't a very safe move, but I don't know how you can anticipate somebody pulling out of their driveway like that. She pulled out of that driveway fast, especially with the contractor's truck right there impeding her visibility, therefore increasing her need for looking carefully and being aware of the situation, as opposed to speeding out as if you have a clear view like she probably normally does. It looks like there's no big bushes or anything. It was definitely ballet time, CRD. Ballet was around 5 o'clock, which means it was after 4 o'clock. Also, I have a question. Oh no, was that a different case? I agree, Prissy. I think if he was hiding, he would have stayed there. But maybe what happens is he doesn't know which way she drives. Or he thought she drove the way that he's parked. And so he thought, oh shit, she's going to drive by and see me parked here. And he tries to leave before she can even identify him. Honestly, yeah, they are both wrong. Again, adults, here we go. So he's moving backwards, now he's going forward. He's lost sight of her vehicle now. I don't think he did that on purpose, guys. I bet she made eye contact with him. No, she didn't. She closed the garage door after. I think she did that. Yeah. He thought he would leave before her. She sped out. And she like made, I think, eye contact with him and was like, I don't know. That's how I see that one. Maybe you guys see it differently, but watching in slow-mo, to me, I think that he didn't have, it wasn't, well, let's just say, first of all, that was in half speed, so it definitely doesn't look as bad in half speed. Here we go to full speed. So he's leaving. He's pulling out. Okay, so she probably didn't look at him as long as I first thought on slow-mo. But she definitely did that, like, deer in headlights, oh fudge, I pulled out before she comes out of the house. Oh, I don't know if we have that part of the video. Did we see that part? Because I think, also, this is the video she wanted us to see. This video she pulled out just for the crotch shot right here. Absolutely. And banging body as well. She absolutely has a banging body. So I would too. Yeah. In the first 5 seconds of this one. So this is after they've look at the bottom. You can see it's all the way back to 0. So now I'm going to try and get my little black bar out of the way here. Come on, go. Okay, so we're right at the very beginning. I think the best thing I did about this whole thing is muted them. I'll tell you that much. We don't need them talking. Although, yes, there was a tire screech, but I don't want to listen to her anymore. I don't think if that was my neighbor and she pulled out of her driveway like that, I wouldn't be very happy. Again, she has increased liability or increased accountability required based upon this contractor's vehicle parked right there, where she needs to take an extra moment. Actually, you know what's interesting, guys? One of my old jobs, I've had about 1 million, was actually to assess preventability in bus accidents. So I would reenact the bus accident with a safety trainer. And it wasn't about the same like liability level of that an insurance company would look at, but we worked for the bus company, and our job was to examine if the incident was preventable or not. And so preventability is a higher standard than liability. So when you're a bus driver, you're held to a higher standard of driving, and you're expected to make decisions that prevent accidents, not only just, whatever. So oftentimes we had video oftentimes, but a lot of the time we would take little buses and stuff and work through the accident and see how it may how it, if it was preventable or not, because basically as a driver a preventable accident is definitely a different like you get in trouble for a preventable accident. So there were drivers out there that had driven, they called it like the 1,000,000 miles or whatever, where they had no accidents ever in like 20 years, which is crazy. But you were allowed to have 3 preventable accidents in a year when I was working there. And so what my job was, the incident reports would come in every day, and I would transfer them from handwritten reports into a database system and then notify the appropriate people and deal with all the insurance lawsuits and stuff like that. So, looking through these, it just reminded me, I'm like, this is vaguely familiar. Oh, yeah, that's right. You did this for a number of years, reviewing videos and things and seeing not only if somebody, like, she absolutely could have stopped that. If there was an accident there, it was a preventable accident for her, less so for him, except if he was, not to go through from there. So, anyways, guys, I really appreciate. I think we should just go back and rewatch this in slow-mo for a minute before we head out. I've had a wonderful evening. Oh, let's put it back into slow-mo. Because I want to see this. Good night, Prissy. I want to see this. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Why is it that it won't go away? Like, okay, Control P will play it. So now let the bar go away. Come on, go away, bar. Go away, bar. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of my new subscribers and the old ones. Come on, bar. Go away. God damn it. Won't do it. You have to, here's what we're going to do. 10 seconds back, hit play, move over. Bar, go away. Thank you. That worked. I hope so. I hope so. Me and YouTube Daddy, we have to have our talks. I hope that I will definitely be making videos forever and ever and ever. You can't get rid of me now, guys. We do need a 1K badge. I want to find some time to do all that, but the problem is I'm so addicted to regular court. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Watch this coming in now, guys. Coming in hot. This is gonna be like, oh, why do the simple things make me so happy? Come on, where's the shower person? Here they come. There we go. Shower cap. Shocked. I love you guys. I love you guys for figuring that out, seeing that one. I watched that twice, did not see that. She's making dinner. Okay, my friends. I love you all. Seriously. Amy, tomorrow, our thoughts are with you. I hope you go and get good news at the cardiologist, and I hope things go smooth. Mayor, same thing. I hope you get a smooth day tomorrow, finally. Everybody who's been in here tonight, everyone who's with me every night. And if you're new, I still wish good things for you because I care. Okay? Anyways, folks, I promise I will be back tomorrow with more awesome court videos for us to watch together. And until then, I hope you go ahead and subscribe to come back and see me again. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and have a great night. Love ya. Bye.